May 24th, 2017 at 7 p.m. of the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Freeholder Pratt. Here. Freeholder Graham. Freeholder Patillo. Freeholder Director Lazaro.
Here. Pursuant to the Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PO 1975, adequate notice as defined by Section 3D of Chapter 231, PL 1975, has been made by regular mail. Such notice being submitted on January 5th, 2017, from the Administrative Center of the County of Sussex, located at 1 Spring Street, Newton, New Jersey, to the following: New Jersey Herald, New Jersey Sunday Herald, Star Ledger, WSUS Radio, WNNJ Radio. Is also posted on the bulletin board maintained in the Administrative Center for Public Announcements and has been submitted to the Sussex County Clerk in compliance with said act. Can I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
Well, after we saw it.
Okay.
Second.
A second.
Discussion, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add a certificate of recognition underneath agenda item 6.A.3. It's a certificate of recognition to transit driver Douglas Mall for winning first place in the 2017 New Jersey State Rodeo competition.
I have a motion to amend the agenda to add the proclamation. Is there a second?
Second.
A second from Freeholder Graham. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. All in favor of approving the agenda as amended?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. The agenda is approved.
Item number 3 on the agenda, Mr. Imperial Director. Before, number 3, I'm sorry, number 3.
Yes. Oh, did I miss a moment of silence? We can do that. Let's stand and have a moment of silence. And a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry about that. Okay, we're back onto our agenda and proclamation and certificate presentations. Okay, proclamation certificates. Proclamation in recognition of Zachary Rushback earning the rank of Eagle Scout. Proclamation to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Hill Memorial Building. And the proclamation 3, a certificate of recognition to Douglas Mall for winning first place in the New Jersey State Rodeo competition. Do I have a motion for the proclamations?
Second.
A motion by Freeholder Crabb, second by Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Ms. Freeholder Patillo, you're going to make that presentation to Zachary for the rank of Eagle Scout at his Eagle Scout
ceremony.
Okay, very good, thank you. Freeholder Graham, you're going to make a proclamation presentation commemorating the 100th anniversary of the Hill Memorial Building on June 8th when they have their celebration. Good. And we have a certificate for Doug. Get that? Freeholder Crabb, would you like to do that? Doug here? Where are you, Doug? There he is. Bring a trophy with you, please.
The Stanley Cup.
Could all the drivers kiss them?
Congratulations. Well done. You know, not for nothing. Oh, yeah, they're turning around and so forth. Come on over here. The types of skills that are required to even be part of this competition are extraordinary. If you look on the big trophy, you'll notice that it's been highly dominated by Cape May County. Not anymore.
Way to go.
Mic drop. Doug has not only shown the capabilities of winning this highly esteemed competition, but it's these capabilities that are the hallmark of our entire transit fleet. The fleet performs so many varied duties, not only on the circuitous routes, but to individual homes where the people rely on us, and the fact that we can get them around with such skilled drivers as we actually have certainly says a lot to how much that the bar is raised there, and everybody is exceeding the bar there. So we're very proud of you. Thank you. Not Cape May anymore, it's us. Right? And the expectation is that we'll win this enough that they'll just leave it here.
It's funny you would say that, Dan. Their supervisor over there, I don't know his last name, but he said we left a bare spot in the wall, and there 11 years.
I can tell you too that this says a lot about management there too, that you keep the bar raised, that we've got people like Doug here. When we go to the senior event at the fair every year, that's when we hand out the safety awards there, and it's something that you get to people that are coming for their 15th straight award, for their 20th straight, and I think that's indicative not only of Doug but of the whole organization. So to that end, I'd like to read this Board of Chosen Freeholders certificate of recognition presented to Douglas Mall for winning first place in the 2017 New Jersey State Rodeo Competition in Jackson, New Jersey on May 6, 2017. Your mastery of safe operations, superior customer service, and commitment to the Sussex County Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Social Services, Skylands Ride, has improved the quality of life for Sussex County residents. Signed by Carl F. Lazaro, Director, Freeholder, Jonathan Rose, Deputy, Philip R. Crabb, George Graham, and Sylvia Patello, Freeholders. So say we all. Congratulations and well done.
That takes.
First he wants.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it took quite a bit to beat them. 7 years, actually. First 3 years, I stayed in the top 10. Then I hit second twice. Last year I choked and took fourth. But this year I got them.
Crushed it.
Takes a little something to do
Doug,
it.
could you take a minute and tell us what this is all about and what you have to do to get it?
Oh, yeah.
The longest wheelie.
So just to let you know.
You leaped a tall building.
I would figure that one out, yeah. But I'm proud to bring it home.
Yeah, the competition is actually very, very difficult. First, there is an extensive written test that all of the drivers take. Then from there, there's a road course where it mimics the road course out here, but not the regular road course, only those very difficult kinds of driving, corners and stops and pulling up. I mean, you pull up to a curb and they mark you off for every quarter of an inch you get marked off. So it's very difficult. Also, wheelchair securement and customer service, very difficult as well. And pre-trip, making sure the bus is safe to ride. And Doug just has, we're so proud of you. So I can tell he's done such a good job at this. He's practiced at it, and he's going to Detroit. And he's going to be competing in National Rodeo under Sussex County, New Jersey.
I want to give thanks to New Jersey Cost.
I was just going to answer. Also, tonight we have the president of New Jersey Cost, Michael Vieira, and he's here to present the plaque that goes in the trophy to the Freeholder Board.
Thank you, Freeholders. This was a lot shorter of a trip. I'm from Essex County, so I didn't have to travel to Cape May County.
Don't forget that when the judge.
I am very proud of Doug. I actually went to, I don't know where we went 2 years ago, but I was with him at the National Rodeo in
St. Paul.
St. Paul, Minnesota, and I will be again with him this year. I didn't go last year. I came because of you, didn't go. But I am going again this year. And you know what? 2 years ago, it was Doug's first time at the National Rodeo, and you know what? Now he knows exactly what to expect, and I think we're going to do good things down there. This year's rodeo, we nicknamed it the ABC. Anybody but Cape May. So, and you know what? You have a lot of people rooting for Doug because we knew Doug knew how to do this course, and we knew last year he choked on something, but we knew that he could do it, and we're really proud of Doug. We're proud of Sussex County. You have a great director over here, Carol Knobler. Now I'm the director of Essex, so when Carol and I work together, great. You know, transportation is so important, especially up here when you don't even have access like hardly.
Sure.
So you know what, the transportation up here for the senior citizens, the persons with disability, even the general public. See, down in Essex, we don't have to deal with the general public as much as because we have bus lines in almost every single corner. Unfortunately, you guys up here in Sussex don't. So your transportation system is just a lifeline to a lot of people. But today I'm here because, you know what, after, I guess, Cape May has won it 11 out of the last 12 years. If you see that, it just says Cape May, Cape May, Cape May. Well, I'm here to give you guys the plaque that says Sussex County on it.
Outstanding.
So I congratulate you guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We look forward to in 3 weeks when Doug goes to the National Rodeo representing Sussex County, but also representing the state of New Jersey.
Great, that's wonderful.
Back with your hubcaps, please.
Laura, did you get everything you need?
No. Could everybody line up for a picture?
Here, you hold this.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
My picture.
I backed my fire truck in the other day and hit the side of the thing.
That's a 25-point deduction.
Thank you.
And well done.
Thank you very
Congratulations. Congratulations.
That's great.
Final adoption ordinance at a regular meeting held on May 10, 2017. We introduced for first reading the following ordinance, which was advertised in the New Jersey Herald issue of May 12, 2017, together with a notice of public hearing, stating it will be held at this meeting at 7 p.m. Bond ordinance providing for the local share of construction costs of and improvements to academic building F at the Sussex County Community College, located within the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, undertaken in connection with the Building on Futures General Obligation Bond Act, appropriating $1,040,068, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,040,068 of bonds or notes of the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, for financing such appropriation, and authorizing the public hearing to be held on Wednesday, May 24th, 2017 at 7 p.m. and publication thereof. I have a motion that the public hearing be opened.
Motion.
Motion by Freeholder Graham. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Freeholder Patillo. Is there discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Is there anyone present to be heard regarding the ordinance? Yes.
Robert Rosef, Monterey Township. I still have a hard time understanding exactly what we're buying here and what it results in terms of a change in the community college and why we're doing this. I did an Oprah to try to get some information. There wasn't much. There was an article in the paper. They talked about turning the college into some part of a 4-year program. They talked of potential partners. just what exactly are we purchasing? So, would someone like to talk? I mean, we haven't had a hearing here. Last year, when this started, it was, well, we don't know if we can get the money. And we'll look into it when we get into, we'll describe it in more depth when we get the money. So, we got the money. What are we doing here?
This
If you wish.
do you want to talk about?
Okay, you can talk.
Okay, this is the general obligation bonds that was authorized in 2012 by the state of New Jersey. It was authorized by a vote in the election of 2012. And there was a certain amount of money that was put aside for buildings that would be for educational purposes only. So it can be used for building a garage or such like that. This is a match. It's a 3/4 on one side, 75% on the part of the state, it's 25% of the part of the county. We originally came up with a larger number, but the state came up with a smaller number, so we adjusted our number downward so that it matched out. The facility that they're doing is primarily going to be used for allowing for larger classes, so that instead of having small classes of 20 or 30, they can be able to educate larger groups of students. One of the problems, if you do tour the college, and you can anytime you want, go to the college, take a look at some of the classrooms that go back to the 1930s, 50s, 60s, and this is going to be a more modern facility. And it's going to be allowing for one professor to be able to lecture to 50 or 60 or larger. I'm not sure exactly the numbers, but that's the purpose of this.
So, the other things that we were reading in the paper, one of which is Partners for a 4-year program.
That's the college's business, that's not ours. It's not something that this was agreed to for. Whatever the college does over there, what there is, and I would suggest you go to their board meetings. They're held on the third Tuesdays. I'm not sure exactly what we can give you the information on that. I would suggest that would be the place to ask them specifically what they're going to do with the facilities.
And you did mention that we're paying approximately a fourth of the overall cost. Who is responsible for any overages on this project?
We're paying a fourth of this. This is our number.
But I'm saying if
This is our, Harvey, this is our number.
So if the $5 million program goes 10% over, who picks up the 10%? Is it divvied up 4 ways?
This is our number.
This is our number.
So who picks up the overage?
Harvey, I know you're looking for another answer, but that's the answer. This is our number.
This is our number, okay. I do want to make notice, and we had this discussion back in January, there has been a very steep drop in student population or student involvement in the school. There's a 25% drop in hours, credit hours, over the last 3 years, 42% over 6 years. You guys got to find some way to save money, and I would suggest here's a way. I mean, this building here, I know you want to teach 60 people in a room now. There's going to be a ton of people that aren't going to leave their living rooms, and they're already doing that very heavily.
I would disagree, and the reason why I would disagree, this isn't something like an investment where you're getting a larger investment in dollar funds out, but I would suggest that this is one of the few parts of our budget that we do get a return on, and a return that's measurable in not the least of which there are constituents can save significant amount of money by going to this college rather than a traditional four-year college to an order of magnitude. Especially in the case, and this isn't building F, but we also put $300,000 every year to the fire safety training facility there too. I would argue that we get a 30 to 50-fold return on that.
Well, I think that's a pipe dream, but that's your choice. I still would reiterate somewhere, somehow, some way,
What's the pipe dream?
that it's a 50-fold return on the investment.
But when your house catches on fire, you'll have experienced firefighters
No, I'm talking
come
to
there to put
school,
it out.
I'm talking to school in general. And this has not, this investment here has nothing to do with the fire.
Yes, it does.
In a small way, it does.
It
In a
would-
very small way.
You know, I would suggest that if it's something that this board is buying into that has a return, and maybe we disagree categorically there, I think it's something that this board needs to participate in the due diligence for the upkeep, because I think that there are tangible and measurable returns back into the county base, maybe not for every single person, but for the people that do take advantage of it, and they don't exclude anybody. I think this is something that this board should support, and should support as vigorously as we can.
Well, as I've mentioned, there has to be ways of saving money. And it just never really seems to come up here. And here we're building a whole new other building with no real debate over its purpose. You did mention that your focus is on the financing of it and the construction of the building. What goes on inside that building is whatever the trustees and the college's responsibility. However, as a taxpayer, there is significant overlap.
Have you been to the college, Mark?
Yes, I've been to the college.
You've gone to the college?
I have very much been to the college, and I'd like to reiterate something here because this is very pertinent. It would answer to some of the thoughts here, and it goes to the library, it goes to a lot of other places. I went to the college, I've been to college a number of times, many times, in fact. I even used the library there. And the first time I went to use the library, I went to use their version. It was either Westlaw or LexisNexis. And I thought, wow, you know, I need this service. I was doing a pro se case. And I found out they didn't have enough money to get a full license, a full access to that service.
But you
And
were
I
a
see-
student, why would you use that one?
Excuse me?
You weren't a student, why would you use that one?
Well, I used it.
But you
You're
were-
allowed to go in there, George. As far as I know, nobody stops you from going there.
That's correct.
So
And this was
I
2
went there.
years ago too, wasn't it?
Hold on, these have no purpose to the story. The purpose to the story is when you build buildings and you can't get the internals right, and I go through this all the time in high technology. I'm in some of the most advanced areas of high technology. I go continuously to buildings that can't provide the tools to their students, to their engineers, and they're in the dark ages, saying that they can do engineering. And what I just described is another thing that's going to happen here. You're building a building. Great, you got a building. And you might even be able to stuff it with some IT equipment that gives you some projection capability into people's living rooms, the big TV screens up above. But you can end up being equipment poor in the rest of your college because you're going to pay for maintenance, because you didn't consolidate and start dealing with newer technologies. And none of that is in this discussion.
Harvey, I think you want to make this broad. We want to make this narrow. This is what we're doing, and we believe that this is the right thing, and it's a unanimous opinion of this board. I believe, I don't speak for other people, but I believe it is. Somebody mentioned something that there should be a citizens committee to review certain things. We're the citizens committee. We've looked at this, we have analyzed it from our points of view, and they're diverse. This college, I know that everybody in this room can have a different opinion of this college. I was fortunate, I sent one child to CCM, I sent one child to Lycoming out in Pennsylvania, I sent one child up here. The difference in the amount of money that I was writing in checks was substantial. Education, probably the one out in Pennsylvania got a better education, but one of my kids went right straight over to Montclair and was able to use all those credits. And I think appreciated it more. Harvey, I know you don't like the college. You write it in the paper every single day. You have problems with the college, you have problems with it all, that's fine, it's your opinion. But I'm expressing my opinion, and you can stand there and, look at me in a condescending way, that's fine.
George, let's
But the
flip the
reality is-
conversation here, George.
Well, we would just,
let's lift the conversation up here, George.
See, I'll finish with time. If you want to have a discourse, we'll have a discourse.
No, we don't have to be snide, and we can lift the conversation.
Same thing you
Did
did.
I knock the college? I asked for a better review, one that
We had the review,
exposes,
Carl, Harvey, we had the review. We feel this is the right thing to do, this is the right time to do it.
Okay, so if I could just close very quickly, you'll have plenty of time to reiterate your points. I do feel this is an area you could save some money. I feel that there's a lot of mission creep going on here. You're enabling it. I feel this building can be done without. And I think that's worthy of consideration. I think grabbing for a lot of free money can lead you down the wrong path. And the solar program is a perfect example. Free money doesn't necessarily bring you more community wealth. It comes with strings. And when you say I don't like the college, I thoroughly disagree with that. What I don't like is unfettered construction without proper oversight for the policy. Thank you.
Harry Dunleavy. It's about the college also, and my communication with the college goes back quite a bit. When the monastery sold it, I was actually interviewed for a position there, and I was actually handed the books. It would be beautiful courses, advanced algebra, calculus, and whatever else. And then when I checked the salary, I think it was, and this was a full-time job at the time, I did have my master's of course, and I think it was 15,000, except that at the time I was earning 70,000, but my wife wanted me at home. So I forgot about it and I took the books back. But here's the point I'd like to raise. And it goes back to the Herald article on April 3rd about the low standard of mathematics in the county, with not a single school reaching 50%. And with the school which you have some authority over, or something to do with the technical school being the second lowest, coming in at 19%. And now we're talking about sorry, did I give my, okay. And when I'm talking about mathematics, I know there's another person in the room that has a degree in mathematics.
Could you keep your comments to the bond, please?
Yes, that's what I'm getting to, Carol. And former freeholder Bowden handed me some material here to peruse, and unfortunately I didn't have enough time to cogitate it. Did you notice my vocabulary is improving, Mr. Lazaro? So I'm trying to figure out, with just superficially looking at this that former freeholder Bowden handed me, with the declining population and everything else, how you can conflate the two things, putting up a new building, and then you have a declining population. Maybe somebody would be able to tell me that. Now, I think it would be a good idea to have an actual 4-year college in the county if we had one. Some states have them. And Mr. Graham, freeholder Graham mentioned a good point. It would be saving a lot of money for the students. But I'm trying to figure out what value it would have at this point in time. And with the declining enrollment, and it's going to cost us some extra money to the taxpayers, and the tax base has gone down. And there's another point I would like to bring up, which I brought up on a myriad of occasions in the past, is which you unfortunately have no control over, and that's to do with the type of teachers that are being hired and the number of school boards that we have.
That's not this bond. That's not this bond. This discussion is about the bond.
Yes, it is. But I just wonder how somebody in Harrison would like it with 145,000 people if there's 27 times as much money being spent on administrators in Sussex County with 143,000 people as there is. And I have to go back to the school in my own district, which is High Point High School. In 2015, they hired 2 mathematics teachers who are not fully qualified. In this case, I think it would be a good idea to take a closer look at whether this is really a good idea, putting up a new fancy building if you don't have enough students to begin with. And then, if you don't have qualified students that could handle all this sophisticated science you're talking about, if the standard of mathematics in the county is so low. Because if you go into science, if you just start dealing with simple things like series alternating current circuits, you may need fairly advanced quadratic equations. If you go into parallel alternating current circuits, you may need calculus. I happen to be a licensed examiner for the FCC for amateur radio, so I have a bit of a background in that, and my mind is in physics. But all I'm asking is that you think about this, and I do think that it would be very nice to have a 4-year college where the people who do not have a lot of money could send their kids and at an affordable rate. It would be a very good idea, but to think about it first. And maybe you might be able to attract, if you had a 4-year college now, you might be able to attract students in from other counties around here. And
Sure.
I respect your credentials. I respect your background. I know that we go through different times in our lives. I mean, before our times, anybody here, with the Depression, the early 1930s, things changed. Things were different the way that people looked at things, but they realized that they were going to come out of it at some point in time and things were going to get better. We've gone through I know that Mr. Bowden is circulating his statistics. The reality is that all these homes aren't going to stay empty forever. Population will change. Right now we have birth rates that are very low, historically low, and that has a lot of effect on things. Teachers can't find jobs because there's not enough kids to teach. That's true. But we have a problem here in the county called chargeback. Chargeback means that when we don't offer a course here because we are mandated by state law to offer courses, we have to pay to send that student to another district. And I'm not talking about high school districts, I'm talking about college. We have to send them to CCM, we have to send them to SAG, or send them someplace else. And we pay full tuition. The point here was looking forward. I know nobody wants to look forward when you're in difficult times, but sometimes you have to look forward as to what is it that we have to do. Now, Mr. Roseff's points were not lost in terms of having the correct amount of technology and being able to do it. And your points are not lost also. But these are points that have to be made more to the college board. I think going to a college meeting is better there. Our point here, though, was we know that we can't keep educating students in those classrooms that you see over in Building E, where there's only 20 or 30, and it's in a long room. It doesn't facilitate bringing people in. This room is for larger audiences, and it will bring about a change. We're not doing this because we want to waste money. I don't think anybody, if anybody believes that that's what we're doing, then they don't know any of us personally. We're doing this because we feel in the long run, and it's not a really long run, we feel in the long run, this is actually will improve the ability to increase our enrollments, bring about a new, you made an excellent point about possibly we can have courses that are bringing people up from Morris County. we could do that. But you can't do it in the environment that we have in some of the buildings now. Those buildings may be repurposed. I don't know the longer term effect. But I do understand that where I went to college, there was a lot of times when we had lectures and there was 100 people in the lecture. And other than the PAC building, that's something we could facilitate. It also means we can have less on staff to be able to do lecture to more people. So that's my motivation for doing this.
I'd like to respond to, if you don't mind. You know, every so often you have an opportunity to actually save on something. You're paying 1/4% of the price. Otherwise, you'd be paying 100% for this type of a building. Okay? And your point was well taken when you said we don't have enough enrollment, the enrollment's dropping, and you yourself said the only way to increase that enrollment is to expand what you offer. But you can't expand what you offer unless you have the facility that enables you to teach a 4-credit course, or even to expand the way you offer a two-year degree. I know both of my children went to CCM because in engineering they didn't have engineering science up in the county at the time, and they did very well because the county colleges have what we call articulation programs with the 4-year colleges. So once you take your courses, even if you stay for a year, all of those credits are accepted into that 4-year college because they have an articulation program with that college, whether it's NJIT or it's Fairleigh Dickinson or it's Patterson State or whatever it is. With these articulation programs, all your credits are accepted. So it makes sense for a lot of people. Take your 2 years here. You save money, your credits are completely accepted, you don't lose any credits, and then you can go on to a 4-year college. Well, how much better is it if you can not only do your 2-year here, but you could do your 4-year here? That not only opens it up to the children who are trying to, the students that have work and jobs that they have to go to. It's so much easier. You save on transportation, and your 4-year college degree you're enabled to make it right here at the county college. I mean, if you want to open up and you want to increase enrollment, that's a way to do it. And it's a way that benefits this whole county. You know, I'm close to CCM, so I've been involved with CCM for years because this county, as I said, didn't have the programs my children need. And I've watched the amount of people that went through that, and now they're looking to bring in some other type of expansion as well. Well, we need to be on top of that. You can't always be behind the 8 ball when you say that nobody's coming to our college. You have to get out into the community, which Sussex County College is now doing. You have to offer the courses that they don't just need for the younger students, but for people that want to go back for their education, that need a different type of training or a different type of 2-year degree to enable them to get into a administrative type of a position in their own job. And then you have those that never had the opportunity to go to a 4-year college, but how easy is it if it's right down the road? The teachers are coming to us. And I know that you love education, and I know that you're good at what you do, and I listen to the way that you have a passion about it. I have a passion about education. I love to see the love of learning expanded in this county, and people have opportunities that they didn't have years ago. And I believe to have a 4-year accredited college in Sussex County would not only bring more people, but would have people that never had the opportunity to achieve that, the ability to achieve it. So we're paying 1/4% of the building at this point, opening it up to 4-year colleges to be available in Sussex County. I'm sorry, but I have to agree with the rest of the board. I think it's a valuable asset to our community, and I think it's the right time to do this. So I appreciate all that you say, but I just want you to know that I think there's a lot of value in what we're talking about here.
Can I respond to that? Actually, I agree with just about everything you're saying. I got my bachelor's degree for $200, the City University of New York. You had to have certain grades and it was great coming here as an immigrant. I immigrated when I was 17. I had a legal right to come to my mother because she had been here as a worker for a rich family in Riverside Drive, and become a citizen and went back for a vacation and met my father and had 11 kids. And it was great to be able to get a free education. But the only dichotomy here is that that was Hunter College then. It's called Lehman College now, which to a certain extent was a very good college. Much better than, I went to Long Island University for my master's, which was a private college, and which was way below the City University. But the problem I have right now is, will this work out because of the declining population and the foreclosures and everything else and all of those? But you are dead right by saying if we could get a 4-year college here, it certainly would help things, and I would love to see it happen. If it is possible.
And you know, one of the parts of economic development, because you hear this all over the place, we need to do redevelopment projects, we need to bring business in, we need to have economic development. There's elements associated with that. One of them is education. So we have a beautiful Sussex County community college that has the ability now to expand into something different. And that itself brings growth and it brings people. So I just think it's the right thing to do. And I want to say one more thing about county colleges that a lot of people don't realize. I know my kids all went into county and then they changed their majors. One child changed it twice. You know, for a couple of $1,000s, it's a place that you have the opportunity to try it out and see if you like it or you have really an interest in that kind of a major. But when you go to these other colleges for $40,000 and you start changing majors, it becomes extremely expensive. So for children that really don't know what they want or they think they want something but they're not sure, it gives them the opportunity to try it out and you're not losing that much money in the process.
And I'd like to put one more thing, and that is education for adults. I've said this over and over again that there's people, in my generation, it's very unlikely that you went your entire life and had one profession. My father's generation, it was more likely. The next generation, how many times are they going to change their profession? 6, 7 times? I think we have to have abilities for adults to be able to make those changes also, to finish out their education, get their BAs or whatever they need, but sometimes just fill in the blanks. And this is what we're striving for as we go through the future.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you anymore. Adult education is extremely important.
And it's been lost at the college. I think we're trying to move back into that.
Well, I wasn't aware of that. I thought they still had some programs there. But there's one thing I'd like to mention is I offered to do volunteer work there with the people who have been in the service. And I contacted them twice, free volunteer work, only in math. I am a licensed Spanish teacher, by the way, and it came in handy because I was in Cuba in February, which I think I told you about. But I have no interest in being involved with teaching it. I'm strictly a math teacher. But they never got back to me.
And that's something really we should address in the board level.
And I will, actually. I do intend to go to the next meeting. And let me thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, Herb Yardley, 96 Rosenfeld, New Jersey. I've learned a lot tonight about this building, and it suggests that in the future, a presentation be made, or that somewhere along the line, there was a presentation of this. And maybe I missed, you know.
We've done that over the last 2 years.
Okay, so I think one of the suggestions might be is that, because these things tend to take on a life of their own at the meetings, is to maybe have that presentation available as a review, so that everybody says, hey, we've talked about this, here's the original presentation, and we're moving forward. But I do have a question. Will this help with the dark fiber situation? Can you elaborate on that at all?
Other than that it's the end point of dark fiber?
Right.
Again, that's a board question. Make a lot more sense to address the board of College Board. And there again, their meetings are Tuesday afternoons at 5 p.m. I think it's the 3rd Tuesday, but it's on the list.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Charles Zulo from 100 North Shore Road, New Jersey. I'm a CUNY graduate as well in economics. There's a thing called supply and demand. One of the factors of it is demand. There's supply in the school, right? There was capacity for X amount of students. That's been reduced per Hardy, so by 42 credit hours or whatever 42% over the last few years. So that means there would be capacity inside the school, correct? That being said, there would be supply, or there would be capacity inside the school, so I don't understand why you need to build a new school. I think it would be interesting just to clarify for all the taxpayers in the audience that this will raise the taxes. I don't know if there's been, I've been just getting involved in this recently. I'm not sure if there was enough debate involving it or there were other options considered along the way to maybe find other ways to solve this issue. Utilizing some of the existing spaces inside the school, possibly rehabilitation or renovation of parts of the school rather than new construction. Could be more costly. I know you mentioned it's 1/4%, and you get 25% of the actual total is going to be municipality. I'd also like you guys to consider, with the new building of the school, to offer courses in fiscal discipline for other elected officials as well as maybe, taxpayers and residents of the town. That might be helpful as well. You mentioned your citizen review, and you guys are in charge of reviewing it. That is basically the questions, reviewing things for the citizenry. I think there's been a lot of, I don't want to say disappointment, but there's been a lot of, I guess, lack of support for this, and I think that should be considered moving forward for the projects. I think you guys owe it to the taxpayer to spend as efficiently and wisely as possible. I applaud your support of education. It's extremely important. Not disparaging, I think that's great. And that's all. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Neil.
My name is Neil Kenny, Green Township. I'm somewhat confused. Building F does not exist, is that correct?
That's correct.
So this $1 million is 25% of the $4 million project.
That's correct.
I'm not familiar with the New Jersey public education system as well as I am with New York City. I also went to City College. I have a master's degree in special education and social studies from City College. So I'm assuming that these county colleges are on par with the CUNY system or the SUNY system, if you're familiar with them. SUNY is the State University of New York, and CUNY was the City University of New York. Because you're saying they can transfer the grades and they do that.
Well, when you have an articulation program, what that means is that the four-year college agrees that the programs that you're taking in that major would all be accepted. So if you didn't have an articulation program, some colleges would take all your credits.
No, I'm well aware of that game,
Yeah.
because the education's become a big money game in many ways.
What this building does is it opens up the vision of where you can go from here to there. It's not creating a four-year college. It's making four-year college accessible, more accessible for individuals who wish to move on in that direction. And that's what we're trying to facilitate.
I think that to go around the horn over $1 million, and it's 1,000,004, it's not even 1 point something. When we're going to get to the 90 million point something a little bit, it's almost, word petty I don't want to use, it doesn't make sense to me. I have 3 daughters that all went through the New York City, well, actually they all went through the SUNY system, state of New York. The most bang you can get from your dollar is one of these local colleges. They all have master's degrees. My youngest has 2 masters from Columbia University. So they know what they're doing. They were prepared to get to where they had to go. I think the better argument about building this is looking on the level below, because Mr. Dunleavy said with the numbers that we're not sending kids ready to take the courses. They're not up to stuff. I don't know why. They're just not cutting the mustard on the high school levels. If the decrease is that bad in mathematics and which then leads to engineering and science.
That's why your county college is so important, because they offer those remedial courses to bring you up to.
Exactly, exactly. And but I'm saying they could also offer what they call ACE program, which is adult continuing education. Because along with the decline in population in this county, there's also a decline as an economic decline. So that people who really need to get the education to move on up are not going to get it. If they, my granddaughter was accepted to, just to give you a case in point, to University of Georgia in August. And they offered her state tuition, which was $11,000. She's decided she's going to UNC at Chapel Hill. That's $65,000. So as I said to my children and my grandchildren, Mazel Tov, it's not happening on my watch. Because all of my daughters have master's degrees from GW, Columbia, and Hunter College, which is sort of set college down, where she's using that degree in her services in the Navy and in the Merchant Marine. So anything that can push the ticket for education, I'm for it. I think what you want to do, what Harvey talks about, is certain things, and I think again, I don't think you need a superintendent of one school and, you know, two schools at 150, or that, well, there is a lot of waste there, but the building is going to be there regardless of who comes in to teach. So I think it's a wise investment. And that's all Harvey can think up now, I'm going to sit down.
Want to start now?
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Anyone else? Yes.
Glenn Hall, Layton, New Jersey. I have a question regarding, I guess it would be accreditation. There's so many students per year have to attend the college.
These are questions, accreditations and such. Really, I think that that's better at the board. We're discussing a bond, and I don't mean to jump.
That's good.
But love to answer the question, Glenn, but I don't think we have the proper information to answer those type of questions.
Well, my point is does this college need so many people attending per year in order to remain a community college? And can we support that in the future with the declining population?
The latest that I heard from the college president is that it has more to do with the financial stability of the college, of which we are well within the proper parameters. But beyond that, I think you're going to have to ask the college board, because I
hope that would be asked, because
we're not in danger if that's what you're asking.
We're not in danger of the declining population.
I think we're talking about population or enrollment, two different things. Population or enrollment. If you feel like the declining hours, that's what they're working towards reversing right now. They flatten that, best I understand. I attend the meetings as best I can. When I can't, Mr. Rose does. We try to go back and forth on the meetings at the college. And the last time they brought that up, we are within our accreditation requirements and responsibilities. But I don't know the numbers.
The future, there's no discussion of the future then? Or?
Again, it's best to discuss at the college level.
Okay.
Thank you.
I hope that's taken into consideration before spending money. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Larry Price, Frankfurt Township. We're putting up 25% of the money. Who's putting up the rest?
State.
The state? Who's going to be in charge of this building? I mean, the construction and such and so forth.
That's probably would come from the college board, because I'm sure that has not been fully decided yet, because you don't build a building until you don't have the resources to do it. And when the resources are completed, they will probably put out to bid, and they'll get a clerk of the works. Process will continue.
We budgeted that.
Pardon?
We budgeted that. Actually, the only increase that the college requested this year was to bring in a very qualified facility, well, no, not facility director, a project manager for this and other lingering projects that have come from the past.
Aren't you afraid of letting the state control our county?
State won't be, this is a local.
It's local, they just provide the funding,
Yep.
which is what they call a gold bond.
And is design
Also local.
That's ours.
local?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Good evening, I'm Kenny Collins from Andover. I just want to voice my opposition to this bonding. I think the county budget is way too high and any further tax burden to be absorbed by the taxpayers in the county needs to be going down for it to be fiscally responsible. It may sound like a really good deal that we only have to pay 25% of it, the state's going to pay 75%. That sounds to me like the taxpayer in the state of New Jersey is putting the bill for 100% of this project. And the county is 25%. So while $1 million plus may seem like a pittance when your budget's over $100 million for the year, I assure you $1 million is a lot of money for any of us taxpayers out here. And it's not fiscally responsible to engage in spending this way when, as has been presented to you, the credit hours are down to college, and attendance is down to college, and population is down in the county. There's no reason to expect that to go in another direction, especially if you keep doing these bonding issues and raising taxes. People are not going to buy homes here, and then you're going to have more people paying a higher portion of it. Fewer people that are going to be burdened with higher taxes because people leave. You just keep taxing them right out of the county. So this is a really bad thing to do. Spend another $1 million out of everybody's pockets.
Let me just correct you on one thing. On balance of the total state, our taxes are in the lower quadrant. I did inspections in the last 2 weeks for almost 20 homes in Freedom Township. That's not the greatest place in the world. Right now it is. I've talked with realtors. Houses are selling in this community. People are coming up here. And when people come up here, the first thing they say to me is, wow, your taxes are a lot lower than they were where I came from. I said, oh, well, that's nice to hear. So let's be careful when we toss around words like people are leaving because of the taxes. They are not leaving because of the taxes in Sussex County. They are buying houses here. I inspect the houses that they buy here. So be correct in your information. Let your opinion be supported by facts. You don't have the facts. So if you don't have the facts, don't say it.
Your facts
please.
are incorrect. People are not.
I'll stand my facts against yours anytime.
Your facts.
I just gave them to you.
No, you don't. You're saying something. You're not presenting any facts.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Carl, could I make a small comment and we'll only take a few seconds actually? Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Is it about the bond?
If it's not this public
It's
session.
not about the bond, wait till public session.
It's about the college. If everything would work out with the college, it would be a good idea because believe it or not, one of my hobbies is, apart from hand radio, is playing around with mathematics. And I'd have done my PhD long ago if there was a college in the country would do it on the internet, but there isn't. And an actual college is so people think that you can do everything now on the internet. Some of the programs that they have on the internet, the math ones, which are the ones I look at, are an absolute joke, and they should not be relied on. That's why the college is important, and to have qualified people overseeing them. The school math and purple math are good, but some of the other ones, people are putting things on there which are total junk. So I just thought I'd make that.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? A motion to close public session?
Motion to close.
Motion to close public hearing by Freeholder Graham. Is there a second? Second by Freeholder Patello. Is there discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Can I have a motion that the ordinance be finally adopted?
Second.
I have a motion by Freeholder Crab and a second by Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo? Yes. Freeholder Director Lazaro?
Yes. Motion to authorize the clerk to advertise this ordinance is finally adopted, and also post the same on the bulletin board in the lobby of the County Administrative Center.
Motion to advertise.
A motion by Freeholder Crab.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Final adoption resolution. At our regular meeting held on April 26, 2017, we introduced for first reading the following resolution, which was advertised in the New Jersey Herald issue of May 17, 2017, together with a notice of public hearing stating it will be held at this meeting at 7 p.m. The resolution read, amending the 2017 county budget as approved. I have a motion that the public hearing be opened.
Motion.
Motion by Freeholder. And motion, second by Freeholder Patillo. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is open for discussion on the amendment of the 2017 county budget as approved. Is there anyone from the public that would like to be heard?
Motion to close.
A motion to close from Freeholder Crab. Is there a
Second.
second? Second, Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Motion that the resolution be finally adopted.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Freeholder Crab. Is there a second? Second by Freeholder Patillo. Is there discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazaro.
Yes. Motion to authorize the clerk to advertise the resolution as finally adopted and post the same on the bulletin board in the lobby of the County Administrative Center.
Motion to advertise.
Motion by Freeholder Crab. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution rescinding approval of the 2017 county health budget and certification of 2017 health tax levy.
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Crab, a second by Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazaro.
Yes. Presentation of the Sussex County 2017 budget. Resolution read the final adoption of the 2017 Sussex County budget as approved. Be it resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex and the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purpose stated of the sum herein set forth as appropriations. The authorization of the amount of $90,172,841 for the county purposes to be raised by taxation and certification of the County Board of Taxation of the following summary of general revenues and appropriations.
Are we having a presentation first?
Yes.
We just give our technology a moment to warm up.
I'm gonna change that.
I'm glad I remember.
I would definitely change that. You're gonna do it. Good.
Do we need to dim the lights and get popcorn?
I was gonna say, I don't think you wanna put me to sleep.
We got this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Freeholder Director, members of the Freeholder Board, and to the members of the public, it's my pleasure to be able to present to you.
No, they're not there.
To be able to share with you the presentation on the county's 2017 budget. The Budget Subcommittee was Freeholder Deputy Director Rose, Freeholder Graham, County Administrator, myself coming in. At the end, I would acknowledge the Acting Administrator, Ron Tappan, who was involved with the budget development, along with our County Chief Financial Officer, Robert Makis, the Director of Finance, Mary Jones, and Confidential Assistant, Ruby Malcolm, all of who are here with us this evening.
Good.
Whoa, okay.
That's good.
Yeah, that's better, thank you. So, much of this, the Freeholder Board and the public are going to be familiar with, because this was part of the conversations that led to the development of the 2017 county operating budget. The presentation of the financial data in this presentation is a combination of the following three items. The county purpose tax, which now includes what had been a separate health fund, the library fund, and open space fund. So we talk about the marginal tax rate increase. The 2017 Sussex County operating budget will result in a 2017 tax levy increase of 3.23%, or an annual increase of $43.34 per average Sussex County home. And you can see in the table below the change in the tax levy, as well as the rateable base and the tax rate for calendar years 2015 through 2017. And so when we talk about the tax levy, this gives you an opportunity to see of the 21 counties where Sussex County's total tax levy. This information comes from the state of New Jersey and is the 2017 total tax levy, which in this case you can see is $92 million for Sussex County. In addition to that, which ties into the table that we saw just prior, if we look at the 2016 county net valuation taxable, which is all of the taxable property within the county, you can see where Sussex County is relative to the other 20 counties in New Jersey. I mean, $16.9 billion worth of net valuation tax. So the budget development process, as the freeholders certainly know, and the members of the public who have been through a budget process know that there's a tremendous amount of time and effort that's put towards the development of the county's budget. And so the Budget Subcommittee was tasked with several things, including reviewing mandated and contractual obligations. And that's really one of the challenges that county government has to deal with, is that as much of many of the services that are provided are mandated by other entities for counties to provide. And in addition to that, with the way that the state of New Jersey is set up, there are obligations in terms of labor, as public sector labor in New Jersey is mostly unionized. So you're dealing with salary and wages that come from existing collective bargaining agreements, along with pensions and benefits, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Everyone's familiar with the criminal justice reform and the stresses that is placed on both the sheriff as well as the prosecutor's office in looking at shared service agreements. Meetings were held to review the department's budget submissions, and the requested operating increases were reduced to 0.3%. In addition to that, there was an evaluation as the department administrators were presenting their budget as to what their current and future program needs were. There always has to be a review of revenue and expense changes, because that's something that has to be tracked closely. And there were instances, and I've provided some but not all of the examples below, of where department operating expenses increased above the 0.3%, but in any instance where there was an increase above the 0.3%, the departments had to provide specific justification. Some of those examples include bridge and traffic safety and lane line painting. That's a safety issue. Roads with snow removal, as there was determined a rather significant decrease in the unit price for salt this year. It was felt that it would be prudent to purchase salt at lower rates than what has been in years past to take advantage of that. There were medical expenses associated with the jail, and we continue to work towards the provision of the medical director to better coordinate the medical services that are necessary for the jail, as well as increases for adult protective services that are handled by the county adjuster. Of course, there has to be consideration to the impact of future budgets, and we talked quite a bit about that at the special meeting that was held back in April in regards to fund balance, which we'll also talk about shortly. And then also examine what the goals were regarding the annual county operating budget. We talked about that earlier as well in the special meeting, talking about preserving the county's current AA+ bond rating, the maintenance of a stable tax rate, which is a primary concern not only to the organization but also to the taxpayer, being able to remain financially and operationally efficient, and to ensure prudent use of fund balance, which ties back into preserving the county's current bond rating. So fund balance and where it needs to be. So this may sound like a bit of a repeat, because I know that we've talked about it quite a bit, both as part of the budget development as well as the meetings that have been held where the budget was discussed. The planned use of fund balance creates a stability in the annual use of the county's reserves, and is an important part of how government entities are rated by bond rating agencies. And that bond rating then has an impact upon the county's ability to finance its capital authorizations. And the higher the bond rating, better interest rates the county is able to secure. As a general rule, rating agencies recommend that AA+ entities maintain 2 months' worth of reserves. And Sussex County continues to use a portion of year-end fund balance that can reasonably be expected to be regenerated. And so I've given you the year's end balance from 2013 to 2016, and you can see that it's been in the 14 million, and at the end of 16, the year-end balance was $15 million. And so now this gives you a nice representation in terms of the fluctuation in what the year-end fund balance is. And you can see in those years where fund balance was greater, and in some instances then it's less. You can see over the past 3 years that the fund balance has started to stabilize the past 3 or 4 years. And again, that's important not only in terms of the balances that are regenerated at year's end, but then how those monies are used to help offset taxes in future years. So now there are several laws that affect the county budget, and you all, I'm sure, are familiar with them. 2 of them have been around for some time. There's a 1977 cap law that prohibits counties from increasing the property tax levy by more than 2.5% unless specific action is taken by the governing body to increase the property tax levy. The 2010 cap, which is referred to as the tax levy cap, establishes a formula that limits the increase in municipal and county amounts to be raised by taxation to 2% of the previous year's amount to be raised. There are some exceptions in terms of debt service and capital projects that allow the number to exceed 2%. And again, that's statutory. And then most recently, which was implemented last year, affecting the 2017 budget, is the 2017 county entity cap budget. And that limits the annual increases in a portion of certain county entities, specifically the constitutional officers, their budget requests, which are funded by the county property tax levy. The good news is the county is within both the 1977 and the 2010 tax levy cap laws, and also is in compliance with the 2017 county entity cap law. Now, there were some comments made earlier in terms of areas where the county can begin to make some headway, and all governments, both county and municipal governments, benefited from the implementation of Public Law 2011, Chapter 78. And those of you that have gone and listened to municipal budget presentations will hear about the impact that Chapter 78 has had as it increased the share of health benefit premiums that were paid by and are being paid by public employees. The implementation of Chapter 78 this year resulted in savings to the county of almost $2 million. So it's rather significant. But as we move forward, and has been discussed with the Freeholder Board since my arrival here, we continue to wrestle with the ever-increasing costs of healthcare expenses. And this chart shows the cost for both active employees, which are the dark blue bars, as well as the light blue bars that represent the county's retirees who are entitled to their health benefits. One of the things that you'll notice in this chart is that you see the retiree costs increasing at a greater rate than the active employee bars. The reason for that is that the dark blue bars that show the active employee health care costs are net numbers. So the savings that the county has realized from the implementation of Chapter 78 are taken into account here, whereas current retirees save just a handful, do not pay for their benefits. And that's a function of the way that the law was written, and that the existing retirees were effectively grandfathered for not having to contribute to their health insurance costs in retirement. So what you'll see now that the Chapter 78 contributions have been fully implemented in 2017, where you've seen a flattening out of those bars over the last few years, they're going to start moving in the same at the same rate that the retiree bars are, because the savings will have been incorporated into the county budget. And as you can tell from the considerable expense for providing for health care for both active and retirees, it's an issue that the county must deal with, and we are currently working on that issue. The budget impact of the health benefit expenses and what we're doing to address that. In 2017, the anticipated increase was over $2 million. The county was able to alleviate this by renegotiating with health and prescription benefit providers. Renegotiating with the providers brought the increase down by approximately $600,000. The county, by continuing with Horizon and Benecard, this year into the beginning of 2018 allows the county to develop its claims experience, which previously it had not done. And one of the things anybody that has any experience with insurance knows, one of the things that carriers look at is confidence in continuing to do business. And so by developing our claims experience, which will now be for approximately 28 months, we will be in a much better position when our broker goes into the marketplace to increase that confidence that previously had not existed. And I've already been meeting with the labor unions whose contracts have expired to talk about cost-saving strategies and creating alternative plan designs so that we really can start to strike at the heart of controlling the costs for health insurance. So we talked about before that there are a number of mandates and contractual obligations. This slide just gives you a highlight of the 2017 costs for a number of these things. For health insurance benefits, we're looking at $16.8 million. There's $6.9 million to the county technical school. There's $6.5 million for debt service, $4.7 million for pension benefits, $4.2 million for the county community college, and $1.8 million for state human services and mental health needs. Now, when we talk about the debt service, and you saw that on the previous slide, the debt service effectively pays for those capital authorizations that the county has engaged in over a period of time. This slide shows some of the current capital authorizations that the 2017 budget will provide for, including over $3.5 million for road resurfacing projects and reconstruction of roads. There's $2.78 million for educational facility improvements, including improvements at the community college and Sussex Tech. We have almost $1.8 million for bridge design and replacement. And I know the Freeholders had discussed, after having come back from the tour, the need to be able to continue to invest in the county's bridges that are in need of attention. We have almost $1.2 million for countywide building improvements, including criminal justice reform and security upgrades. There's just over $1 million for the replacement of public works vehicles and equipment, and another $800,000 for information technology. So again, these are all important investments into the county's infrastructure, particularly as it pertains to roads and bridge design that are very important and need to be tended to. I wanted to show, because there's been a lot of discussion in terms of what the average county taxes are, and this slide shows where Sussex County falls in relation to the other 20 counties. And you can see that the county with an average county tax of just over $1,300 is number 7 from the bottom of all the county taxes in New Jersey. Again, this information comes directly from the state's Division of Local Government Services, but it does put into context where the county falls in relation to all the other counties. So planning for the future, because that's really what a budget is. I've always said during my time for managing public organizations, the budget is probably the single greatest policy statement that the elected body will make in any given year. And in order for that to have meaning, there has to be planning. And the county is committed to a number of things, many which are proactive, and some of what we've touched upon in this presentation is continuing analysis of the employee benefits package and ongoing education and outreach to employees. As we're finalizing contract documents with Horizon and Benecard, there will be an open enrollment period where we will require county employees to attend so they can understand the benefits available to them and be able to provide them with information about more cost-effective plans that are being offered through our providers. We look to explore additional shared service opportunities, both with local governments as well as other county governments. Complete the review and analysis of the solar debt service. And that was discussed quite extensively at the special meeting that we had back in April. We will continue to work with municipalities to ensure their needs are being fully met under the services that are being provided by the county. And ongoing fiscal responsibility to maintain a stable tax rate and avoiding tax rate spikes. And that is part of the overall goal that the Budget Subcommittee established as part of the 2017 county operating budget. So the important items to watch: the full cost of criminal justice reform, additional manpower and technology needs that are coming about as a result of that, the ongoing union negotiations with 3 large units right now, and again, being able to look at the rather significant costs of health benefits and being able to come up with alternatives so that we can get those costs under control. There's always an ongoing need for the maintenance and repair to the county's infrastructure and equipment, and we highlighted that on the capital authorizations slide. The increase in required adult protective services and the impact that's going to have on future budgets, which the county adjuster addressed during the budget development. And then also, too, the solar 1603 federal reimbursements that we had talked about before, and with all those submissions now waiting for the processing of those reimbursements so the county can take advantage of those revenues in future budgets. And in conclusion, this slide was developed by Treasury, giving a summary as to the difference between the adopted 2016 budget and the introduced and approved budget for 2017. Again, we touched upon earlier that the amount to be raised increased 3.23%. The bottom part of that slide gives people an opportunity to see what the average home cost was and what the tax rate was for 2016. Showed the average county tax of $1,342 in 2016. Taking that and multiplying that against the 2017 tax increase is what gives you the $43.34, which is the average county tax increase for 2017.
I think there's an error right above the 2016 average county tax. The change is not 0.172, the change should be 0.0172. There's not a 17-cent difference between 54 and 56. There isn't.
Thank you.
It should be 0.0172.
Thank you.
I don't know if that affects any of the...
It does not. And that concludes the presentation this evening.
Get the lights back on, please. So everybody wake up. Wake up. Thank you, Mr. Goff. That was an excellent presentation.
I'd like to thank the Budget Subcommittee and in particular the Treasury Department staff provided quite a bit of support to putting the presentation together.
Okay, read the adoption. Do I have a motion to finally adopt the 2017 county budget as approved?
Motion to adopt.
Motion by Freeholder Graham, is there a second? Second by Freeholder Cotillo. Is there discussion?
Yes. I think it's hard to argue that the percentage increases of this year as compared to previous years is not obtuse. You know, especially considering that the worst case solar charge was already baked in. I think too that we probably have at least $500,000 in expenses that we're not doing this year, just compared to the investigation. It's of no fault to the budget committee. Frankly, looking through this report, I think it's extraordinary how they held the line coming in to 0.3. In fact, that may be one of the best ever. We're in the situation that we are right now because inconceivably we're still working on the health benefits issue. This is something that this board first brought up late last fall. I think it was in August. I think it was in executive session there. You know what happened that we're still dealing with it now, and I'm very thankful of our new administrator because he's taken this and he's gotten his arms around it to even improve on the situation that we had coming up with ideas and strategies. But I'm of the opinion that we're in the situation that we are now as we fail to act in a timely manner on dealing with the temporary and interim framework that we were in last year. There were many requests to deal with that. I think we had like 5 straight meetings that we asked, but it didn't happen. I'm of the firm belief that if we had acted in a timely fashion and had someone like Greg here at those critical points in the fourth quarter, that we wouldn't be in the situation that we are now. It's because of these reasons that I won't be able to ratify or support this budget. That's all.
Certainly.
I find it interesting that Freeholder Crab made these comments. I found that a big part of our problem going into the solar issue was that in 2015 we had a settlement. We were supposed to do a build out in 2015 and not a thing was done. Not one single thing. We had towns that were moving away from us. We had no breaking the ground. So a lot of the revenue that should have come in 2016 in solar didn't come in 2016. As for getting our hands around a permanent administrator, we have an excellent administrator right now that would not have been ready at the time. So it's good to armchair quarterback it and money back out. Another additional problem with solar, and it's come up through meetings and through you think you know what's going on, and then it unravels like an onion. And we spent more time looking at it, and more conversations. And one of the interesting things was that Morris County had done a very smart thing. Morris County settled the issue, and then when they settled the issue, they took an abeyance on going ahead and building out the rest until they do a study on that. We didn't do that. We jumped into it. They also went to bid on the contractor that was supposed to do the build out. We didn't do that. Apparently somebody on this board, either here or last or whatever, walked somebody in. And so we had a contractor that had no real reason to be involved, but he did. So 2016, especially from January until June, became a fight every single day to get something done. It wasn't an easy struggle. it was an easy struggle. Again, on-chart quarterbacking. For the director in 2015 to make aspersions in 2016, when in fact a lot of the reasons why he didn't go anyplace in 2016 just because of 2015, I think is hypocritical.
I can't argue with anything that you've said.
All right, I'm not done.
The only difference being is that
Hold
it's
on,
already
I'm not
baked into the budget.
I'm not. A lot of the costs associated with solar, and a former freeholders in the room who kept saying over and over again throughout 2015 and 2016 is it didn't cost anything more, it was all in the bond. That's not true. That's not true. In the same way that General Ford in 1974 said that there was nothing he could just not operate unless he pardoned Nixon because it ate up all the resources of the federal government. Solar ate up all the resources of this government. Our attorney, our administrator, our Treasury Department, daily was dealing in the mire of what was going wrong next. There was a project manager that was supposed to be on the job, never put on the job. When the project manager came on, he had a very small role because that's all he was going to do. That settlement in February of 2015 saddled us with more responsibilities, more costs, and more things that dug right straight into what we are paying for in this budget. In 2015, going into the 2015 budget, we stood here, as our treasurers told us, that $900,000 was all it was going to take every single year to pay off this bond. $900,000, and I said that's not possible. That is absolutely not possible. And freeholders and our treasurer alike said, how dare I challenge those numbers? That number wasn't even logical. It wasn't logical. And where are we at today? We have local units that are paying as much for electricity out of solar that absolutely could have been paid on the market. I don't go back to 2011 and question what was done. I go back to 2015. In my opinion, we were sold out. Now, as for 2016 and leadership, nobody had any idea, I know I didn't, that our administrator was going to suddenly just walk off in April of 2016. The requirement at that point in time was to try and hold everything together because we had everybody walk out in 2015 and then we had another one move out in 2016. Again, not on my watch, but somebody's going to abstain from the budget because of things that were supposedly done in 2016. Let's go back to 2015. That's when everybody walked out. So it was our job, myself, Mr. Rose, to hold on and make sure that we held all the leaks that we could. I admire Mr. Poff, and I've admired him for quite some time. But I also know that when we were looking at possible fulfillment of an administrator's job in 2016, there were people that were already lining up to try and bring in consultants that had associations with the former administration. We needed a clean cut. That's not what the intention was. Well, let's put it right where it is. It's politics. And in my politics is, I don't want to pay a nickel more than I have to for this government. I don't want to pay it. I don't want to pay it when I was a councilman. I didn't want to pay it on a council basis. That's not what we were about. And I don't think the other administrators, the other freeholders, past, present, or even future, want to pay any more either. But when games are played and you want to put your friends in, when games are played and you want to make sure that the majority doesn't get their way and you just want to block things, that's fine. But when you get down to where we knew darn well that we have a $3.3 million budget hole every year because of solar, and you say if $900,000 is going to fill that hole, I'm sorry. That wasn't logical. When we're dealing with new contractors that were given a all-in contract, what I say is an all-in contract is they were told, this is how much money we have, build it out. But we don't have any agreements that we can hold on to those local places to put the solar panels up. So every change costs money. We want to move it to the west, costs more money. We want to move it to the east, costs more money. We want to move it to this town versus that town, costs more money. And you watch it just bleed away. All-in contract, brilliant move. Absolutely brilliant move. I'm going to build your garage. You want a 2-car garage. Fine. I'll give you, you tell me you're going to give me $40,000 to build a 2-car garage. We find out that you don't have the land for a 2-car garage, but you gave me $40,000 for a garage. You find out later on you don't have the land for it. So I'll build you a 1-car garage. You want some money back. I say, hey, all in contract, 40 grand. We all got a 1-car garage. That's what we got. And that's why when Mr. Krabs says that we had all in, yeah, we had all in. But he's not counting in the extra engineering, the extra delays, the fact that we're not bringing in any of the PPAs that we're supposed to be bringing in, PPAs, that's the power of purchase agreements. These were not logical. By 2014, 2015, none of this made any sense. All I could do as director was to make sure that we enforced the contracts that we had and we worked as hard as we possibly could. And I want to tell that a number of people up here, particularly Mr. Williams, worked very, very hard in trying to keep on it. Mr. Tappan, very, very hard to try and keep on it. Mr. Makis, Ruby, Mary. Because it wasn't an easy task. So, this is what I reject. I reject that we delayed in any way or form. What I do say is that we were completely caught up in the mire of this disastrous solar project that its only design by 2015 was to cover everybody's bases. I said bases, but you know what I'm talking about. It's not bases. This budget held every line that we possibly could. The only line where we just could not grab hold of was health insurance. And it's very easy sometimes to say, well, if things were different, I don't know if things would be different. If we had brought in another administrator, if we had brought in another company. A few weeks ago, we were talking about going into the state health benefits. We're finding out the state health benefits doesn't work out. That's just in the course of, what, 6 weeks, 5 weeks? Health benefits is a changing world right now. And I see Mayor from Sparta here. You have to be facing it over there too. That the agreements that were made years ago to employees and to retirees, we're fulfilling them now. That's what we're doing. Take a look at that bar where you show that our retirees are bringing them in. It's costing us more to do retirees than it is to do employees. Those bars are going to start evening up. So probably 2019, 2020, I don't know exactly, but somewhere along there, you can see the retiree number to be higher than the employee number. We made those agreements a long time ago. It made sense back then. It doesn't make sense right now. So as for Mr. Krabs' assertions, I actually take pride in the fact that he doesn't have the courage to vote for this. I really do. Because sitting up here, I know I take pride in it. I don't take pride in having to say, to turn to people and say, listen, we exceeded 2% or 1% or anything. Because we said straight out 0.3. We watched the reverberations through our operations, 0.3. How are we going to do 0.3? Well, they came through with 0.3. There were some things that we had to do. There was adult protective services. Back in 2014, there was a half a dozen people that went under adult protective services. 2015, that number went up into the teens. Now we're into over the 20s. There are people that are elderly that have been somewhat abandoned up here. And adult protective services has to stay in that requirement extremely. I love this county. I really do. I love this county. I moved here 31 years ago, 32 years ago. And I came here from California after spending a number of years there. And as I looked around the place, I said, wow, this is a beautiful place. Population back then was 125, I think it was, 25,000. Population right now is 143. So the population is higher than it was in 1985. It's lower than it was in 2010. I've said this over and over again, that I had a house with 3 children. They moved away, so 60% of my house has gone away. There have been foreclosures, and there are foreclosures everywhere. I spent the better part of yesterday going through other counties in the United States and what their rationale is, how they're dealing with declining population, how they should do the budget. A few things that I'd like to push forward. Since Mr. Poff has been here, he's already got his hands around personnel issues, handbooks, making sure that we analyze not only who we have working for us and whether or not we need those people. He's also going to be doing salary analysis, something that we've asked for. I've already called for an analysis of the 911 center. The 911 center is costly, but we have to have a full airing out of what the 911 center means, how much it costs, how much it will cost, and what the benefits may be to other municipalities, and then make a decision on this. There's been a big investment in there. Trying to get your hands around what the investment is not always easy either. We have Health and Human Services. We've streamlined those. Health and Human Services will be working over the next, I'm hoping in the next 2 to 3 months, making some strong recommendations of how we can create a synergy, and we can reduce how much it costs to deliver services. Transit, we won an award here, but transit is a tough, difficult subject, because transit is something that we are in an island out here. We don't have public transportation, and some people have to rely on our transportation. We have to find a better funding method, because right now it's being heavily funded by the casinos, and the casinos are in a decline. We have to analyze grants. Sometimes grants cost us money, sometimes grants save us money. We have to analyze them and look at them. Just because it's money coming in, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best for us. We have to analyze how many people we have working in building the grounds, road crews, and such. I try and work collaboratively with people, but when they turn around and they play politics, when they know the full story, I'm appalled. So I vote for this budget. I support this budget.
Just briefly, I'm not running for anything. We went around the globe with the issues from 2015 to now, and a bunch of stuff was iterated there, but we're working on the 2017 budget. It's inconceivable. Let me just say, too, that this isn't the first year that we've dealt with solar. The worst case solar has been baked in before this year. It's inconceivable that we're still working on the health benefits plan at this stage of the year. I'm with the firm belief that if this board acted to resolve the front office situation more expeditiously, we wouldn't be in this position at all, and that's a fact.
You want
I don't want to answer this, I'm sorry.
to? Okay.
Yeah, I do. I wasn't going to say anything, but I will. I'm very disappointed in your comments, Mr. Kraft. We have had this budget out in the open for 2 months. 2 months.
2 months.
2 months, you could have asked any question you wanted. You could have made any suggestion that you wanted. You could have participated in anything that you wanted. But you sat here until tonight to make your comments.
No.
I resent
We
that.
brought
I'm
this-
talking. You're not
We
doing
brought
it.
this up in 5
I've
consecutive
got the
meetings
floor.
last year.
I've got the floor.
5 consecutive meetings
Yeah.
last year, so I did participate.
I have I've watched this budget go. I never wanted to be put in a position to say this. I am not a politician. I did not run for this office to go someplace else or do something else. I ran for this office to make some changes and do some good for this county. The previous boards had no experience and made a mess of what we've got right now. That solar project was a disaster from the beginning, and we're saddled with it now. And when we looked at this budget and tried to make things happen with it, we couldn't move. We had no elbow room. There was no place to go. We were saddled with the crap that was dealt our hand. We picked an excellent, top-notch administrator, and God thank us for waiting long enough to do it, because what we got saddled with was garbage. And we were stuck with that, and they did everything in the previous boards to block everything that we could do and where we could go. It was shameful. This board worked very hard to come up with a budget like this. These people in the Treasury office have been tied up with solar coverage for months on months on months. When you have to do that, that means you leave something else undone. And it goes by the board. And everybody wants it done. So they got to get done that, and then they got to go get done that. And there's only so many hours in a day that they can do it. We were saddled with that. The 911 center will work. We are way ahead of the curve. I was at a seminar last week on the NJAC, on the 911 center. We have everything in place. The state of New Jersey does not have everything in place for us to implement the things that need to be put in place. That belongs to our state representatives. And nothing's getting done. Of the money that was allocated from your bills for a 911 center, New Jersey, $120 million, $106 million, $107 million diverted for other purposes other than 911. What do you want me to do? And for those of you who say, we got a 911 center, it works good. It doesn't work good with today's technology. If I have a heart attack out in that lobby, they can't find me unless I can talk. They can tell where my cell phone's bouncing off, but they can't find me. The new generation stuff will make that possible. You want to give it up and be one of the few places in the state that doesn't have it? Good. Vote somebody in who doesn't. I'm committed to it, and it will work, and we will resolve the things that are done with it. And to defeat this budget today, not going to happen. I will support it. It's not what we wanted, but it's what we got dealt. And we'll make it work, and we'll make the future happen. And as for the doom and gloom in Sussex County, I will not accept it anymore. We are back on the growth curve, and you're not going to get anybody to move back into the county if you keep telling them, the place is falling apart, nothing's going to work anymore. That's not the attitude that you encourage people to come here with. New people are coming, businesses are coming, businesses are being bought and started. Thank goodness. And it's because there's a positive attitude that says, we're going to be there, and we're going to make it work. You want to be a negative attitude? Good. But don't bring it in here. We don't need it. I'm done.
Let me just, I wasn't going to speak, but I was all joking. I just want to talk about the health benefit situation. As a board, we don't have the right to make a unilateral change when it comes to our union contracts. We couldn't fix this problem last year because the contracts are up this year. And when we looked at this budget, and I wasn't on the capital budget, but for those that were working on the operating budget, the plan wasn't just for this year. We looked at this budget in relationship to years moving forward. So as we're planning this and as we're talking about this, already the discussions are onto 2018 as we position ourselves to go into a new year. We're not waiting till November, we're not waiting till January. Tomorrow, we're going to actually go into a 2018 mindset, and we're moving forward in that way. But I do want to talk about Gregory Puff, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you know, it was really difficult to find somebody, lived in Sussex County, which was difficult, and had the success and the experience we needed to come in and to just take off the day that he comes into that room. Having gone through many business administrators, I can tell you there is not a lot of talent out there on municipal levels, and it's more difficult on a county level. There's a lot of people that have initiative and may have degrees, but it doesn't mean that they have the experience and they have the success in the position. We were very fortunate, and I'll tell you, I prayed a lot for the right person to show up because I know how difficult it is to fill that type of a position. And I was so grateful when you came, and I thought to myself, he comes with such a high recommendation from everyone that has worked with him. He's successful in all the issues and the situations that we're faced with that we have not been able to resolve. He's resolved them. and he came with a wonderful positive attitude. And when I looked at this presentation, I really want to thank you, because it was very concise, very easy to understand, and it really brought out the truth about the issues and the manner in which we're trying to resolve all of these issues at once. Everything that was said here was true. When you had that solar project, that was the priority of everything. And the infighting that went on with this board did not make it any easier. And I've been on boards where there are a lot of people that are fighting, and I can tell you, you don't move forward on that kind of a board. It doesn't happen, because you're so, I guess, fixated on going after the other person that you just can't work together to move forward. And I believe that's what happened when I look at what happened at this board. That you were fixated on each other. The solar project was such a difficult issue to deal with. Everybody had very strong opinions and strong convictions, and it seemed to go on forever. So now we have everything in place to move forward to resolve these issues. Contracts are up, working with the unions on negotiations, the right administrator in place. So there may have been a delay of time, and for numerous reasons there was a delay of time, but truthfully, I think it worked in your benefit. I think we're in a very good position right now to move forward in 2018 and resolve some of these problems. And I give you a lot of credit, Greg, because you're a large part of that change. And I really am grateful that you came up here, because I know your past 5 weeks have been difficult at best. But I do support this budget.
Okay, 2 more points. Just 2 more points. Pointed out before how much the solar project is costing. We have baked into the budget about $2.7 million. You as taxpayers are going to pay $2.7 million every year. That's what you're going to pay. Because the PPAs are not coming into that amount. That's over and over and over and over and over again. It's not worst case scenario. That's what it is. And the other thing is, next time you talk to somebody from back in the way, ask them who brought in Vanguard Construction to do the job. Ask the question. I'd like to know the answer. I can't seem to find that answer.
Same with seeing.
Okay.
Yeah, and in closing, I'd like to thank Freeholder Graham and Freeholder Rose for the innumerable hours that they spent poring over the numbers and making this thing work, as well as the Treasury Department for all their work, and the auditor for all his work. And Mr. Poff, when we interviewed you, we told it wasn't going to be easy. We didn't lie to you.
You weren't kidding.
Thank you very much. You're a good man, and we're glad you're here.
And 2.7 million for how long? How many years?
10.
More 10 years?
At least.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Freeholder Pratt.
No.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazaro.
Yes. Motion's carried. Public session from the floor. May I have a motion for the public session from the floor?
Motion.
Motion by Freeholder Graham. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Patillo. Please note, everyone is asked to keep their comments to 5 minutes or less. Only address issues regarding agenda items. Please state your name, spell your last name, and state your municipal residency. All in favor? Aye. Motion is carried. Floor is open for public. Yes, sir.
Ken Collins, C-O-L-L-I-N-S, 14 Pinecliff Road, Andover. I commend you for working hard to reduce the budget from last year. I know it's not easy, and I applaud Freeholder Graham for taking a stand against the budget tonight. Here tonight because once again you're going to tax and spend. I've been imploring you to present a budget that does not raise property taxes in Sussex County. And while looking into the budgets, I just checked the budgets on the county website that go back until 2004, and there were some figures there that were very alarming. In 2005, the county budget was $85,788,242. $59,448,760 of that came from taxation. 5 years later, the budget was up to almost $109 million, and $75 million of that came from taxation, an increase of 26.5% over that 5-year period. By 2015, the county budget was up to $108 million, and 81,581,000 plus came from taxation. That's an increase of 37.23% since 2005. The 2017 county budget is $104,954,020, and of that, 90,172,841 comes from taxation. That's an increase of over 50% since 2005. Sussex County population in 2005 was 150,764. The county's population in 2010 was relatively unchanged at 149,265, but since then, the population has declined to around 143,000. So while the population has declined and school enrollment has declined, taxation to cover the Sussex County bills has risen by almost 50% in the last 12 years, over 50% in the last 12 years, from just under $60 million to over $90 million. Projecting this forward, the public has to expect that we're going to continue this pattern, which means that by 2030, we will have double taxes from what they were in 2005. There has to be fiscal discipline at the county level, and this does not show that that is what has gone on. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for reducing the budget, but that has been done before in 2011, 2012, and 2013, and all of those years, in fact, every single year that I could find on record, the amount to be raised by taxation has increased. Not a single time have the good and deserving people of Sussex County received a reduction in their county taxes, not once. And I'm here to say that enough is enough. The leadership of Sussex County is failing the people. The Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders must not raise our taxes anymore. We should have rejected this budget, just like Phil Crabb had the guts to tonight, and reduce our tax burden. You have to stop indebting us for the future with bonds to pay for improvements to things like the county college when you can't get our taxes down and just keep going up and up and up every year. It's really simple. It's the taxes. Taxes are too high. You're not going to turn things around in Sussex County until you do something about it. So I'll be back here, and I'll be working to stop this overtaxation, and I'm going to keep this issue alive in the forefront. You guys need to stop spending, and you just decided to spend more tonight, and that's just wrong. And you need to stop taxing more every single year. It's out of control. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's to somebody else. Allowed me up twice. And on a sideshow, Mr. Lassiter, you're the only one behind the desk that's been in my home. And I'd love to know where you cut your figures from about homes not declining. Because my house was valued at, when I bought my second apartment building and I needed to borrow $100,000, my house was valued at $550,000. Now, $330,000, $330,000 from a realtor. So maybe you'll tell me where you got the numbers from, but I'm not up here for that. I think the freeholders have a tough job, actually. You're not that well paid, and you have to do an awful lot of work, and you're responsible for an awful lot of things. And I think in the past, the mess with the solar system was not entirely made with the freeholders. It was made with the high-paid people that were working here. But I was certainly angry that you put the administrator, that whoever was responsible, to give him a position at the college afterwards, after the mess that was made here. He was highly paid, and to others, they should have known what was happening. But I think there's some of the guilt to go around as well. I think there's plenty of it. I don't know what it's going to achieve hiring Mr. Boxer and paying hundreds of thousands to do an evaluation. It's not going to get the taxpayer any money back. And you have responsibility also now. There's a new board here. You will be doing appointments. I went to the tech school after I saw a terrible report there, and I may as well have been talking to the wall. And I remember going way back. I was a board member there, I was a vice president and I was a president. And I remember when the firing of a teacher came up, and I was the only one of the 5 board members that opposed the firing of the teacher. He came in and he was represented by George Daggett's law firm. Somebody with the name Gary, I think, was from the law firm that represented him. And I was the only one that spoke about it, and I was sort of shouted down at the moment. We have to listen to the assistant principal. And I said I would far more believe a grown-up than I would 2 thugs, as it turned out. That's what they turned out. They were later expelled. And what happened afterwards? What did it cost us? Lo and behold, there was no research done. It was a vice principal that didn't like the teacher, and he decided to make something up. So there's a lawsuit. Lo and behold, there's a DIFAS member, when this allegation was made to be through a chair at a student, there's a DIFAS member who had never been contacted in the room at the time. She had everything documented. She was on some duty there. She saw no chair being fired. The teacher had to be paid $250,000, if the figures are correct or thereabouts. He went to Rockaway, New Jersey, and he became the teacher of the year. The lawyer, of course, had to be paid as well. I think you have a serious problem at the technical school now. You have a board there, talk to the wall, you're just as well. And you have a responsibility to appoint correct people. And I think you appear to have made a good decision here. And I hope when the time comes up to remove some of those people that are there now, that you would do it as well. And maybe it won't be 20% in math that day.
1 minute.
Maybe we'll go up to 50. No, I don't even need that. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Anyone else?
John Snyder, Sanderson. I have a few questions about the budget presentation. The debt service of $6.5 million. What does that include? Is that the solar included in there?
Yes.
Yeah, the solar wasn't mentioned until we came up to the end in 2018. And I'm just wondering.
It's included in the debt service.
And it's, you said 2.7 or something?
2.5 a year. 7.
And the library
Between
fund
5 and 7.
that was used
It's
to
a lot of money.
finance the restructuring. How does that sit there? Money that is borrowed from the sale of the library? I'm sorry, what is it? A homestead.
That's separate.
But that was used
That's
for
apart
part
from
of
that.
solar, right? It was like we were borrowing from ourselves or something?
Yes.
So where did that stand right?
That was a
No,
bridge.
no, the
That was a
homestead.
bridge, but a
But
bridge.
they, the homestead.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting little development too. There was a gap between the amount of money that was available and the amount of money that was needed in order to bring in Vanguard. And that amount of money required a gap payment. So instead of bonding it, the majority of the board decided that what they were going to do was they used the cash that was in there for the homestead and they turned it into an instrument. It would be like taking your money and buying a bond. We bought the bond and we bought the bond back ourselves. So theoretically, it still exists as our equity. We just don't have the cash. We have a bond. And we have to pay back that bond to ourselves in order to realize the cash. And that requires a $300,000 payment, I think, a year. Is that what it is, $300,000? $300,000 payment a year. We make the payment, yes, essentially to MCIA, and it comes back to us because we're paying the installment.
And the solar 1603 federal reimbursement. We'll talk about that in the future. Have we gotten any at all to date?
No.
Well,
We got the
yeah,
money yet.
well, not on this particular one. We received 1603 money a number of years ago. We received 1603 money last year. What 1603 money is it was a program that was developed back in 2009, I think, with when Obama came in, to push solar. Actually told us something right there.
Yep.
To push for solar development, and what it did was it provided for 30% of the cost of doing it. The difficulty with that was that it wasn't for government. It was never meant for government. It was meant for private industry. This very convoluted, and if you ever sit down and read the documents, I mean, Harvey has read them and read them and read them and read them, he knows that it wasn't meant to be for government. So what they did was they basically had a shell company that did this years ago so that they could collect 1603 money. Now, this company that came in and proposed to us said that we would use that 30% to pay off against the bonds. We were never supposed to pay anything. It was never supposed to cost us any money. I guess you know the thing about it. It sounds too good to be true. And when that company and that project collapsed, the 1603 money just wound up going into this company, of which, through the settlement, we control everything. So every nickel that goes into it, every nickel that comes out of it, goes to the bond. And as for the 1603s that we've presented right now, it's for all the build-out that occurred in 2016. Everything's complete, all the paperwork is in, everything is at the federal level. So we will be receiving up to over $3 million. I think it's going to be less. I think it's going to be somewhere around 2.7, something like that.
Per year or?
No, one shot. And that's why we have to be careful with it, that we can't take that 2.7 and just pay off next year's bond, because what we will wind up doing is we will wind up having to scratch around for double that amount the following year. It will be the unexpected revenue. So it's important that we take that money and spread that over a period of years to keep the bond payment down.
You also mentioned open space as part of the budget. I don't know, what is Sussex County's open space?
There's a dedicated open space tax.
Well, where is the open space? That's county
Various projects around the county where there is, we have purchased open space in the past, and there's a movement right now to use some of the open space money. We've got plenty, we don't need to get more, but to do maintenance on the open space that we do have.
Because we only had, how many parks, 1 or 2?
Oh, no.
I'm talking county, not the municipality.
Well, it does go to municipalities.
I thought the green on Newton was, is that the only actual county park?
Yeah, that's not what this goes for. This goes for private parcels, farms, and stuff like that. And the county has to maintain a minimum level of contribution. Otherwise, we lose their benefits like matching grants.
And this was voted on by the public. This was not a tax that was imposed.
I was voting against those.
Well,
good. Just like Lieutenant Governor. Couldn't understand. And everybody seems to be very happy. Mr. Pop, he seems very confident. And when we considered the title off the map, administrator. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Okay.
Glenn Hall, Sanderson. Item 10, number D. Could you explain that to me? What's going on in that resolution?
Purchase of road easement, and phone, I think that was a farmland preservation piece that was submitted and approved by Farmland Preservation Committee. And if there were funds available to make that purchase, we were going to do it.
Any idea how much it is?
That has not that Priscilla, I don't think. You do have it, you can come through.
There is a planning incentive grant for $160,920 and $71,280 coming from the county's open space tax.
Wait and see the figures when they come out.
These are lots? How big are these
No,
lots?
no, this is a piece of property, okay, now I know what it is now. There's 55 acres, preservation area is 53 acres. It connects with a piece of property in Vernon and makes a connection, I believe, with the Appalachian Trail. And it was property that was preserved through the Hardyston and the county's cooperation together. I'll get that correct.
It's already preserved, you say?
No, that's what we're doing with it.
That's what you're doing?
Right.
How many acres?
54 gross acres.
From
1 acre accepted for.
So there's 3 lots in the block then that totals 54 acres?
Yep.
And it's the Mulvaney Farm?
Mm-hmm.
Is this surrounding area, is it developed around it or?
Certain spots are, yeah, it's right off of 94 in Hardyston.
What exactly
On Drew Road.
Yeah.
Drew Road?
Yes.
139 Drew Road. I believe it's right on the border of Hardyston and Vernon.
Yeah, Drew Road is typically Vernon.
It is farmland?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, not woodland, but farmland?
Yep.
Fields?
Yeah, nice flat stuff.
Pardon me?
Nice flat stuff.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. Freehold, Director, may I add something? Mr. Hall, if you wish in the future for these types of things, there is an advisory committee, the Sussex County Agricultural Development Board, that meets regularly. Their schedule's on the website, as is their agenda, and they facilitate programs like this through the State Agricultural Development Commission, which is the statute, the state agency that enacts the statute and facilitates the statute, and the recommendation comes up to the board. So you're welcome to attend those meetings, they are public. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Rosa.
Harvey Rosette, Township. It was kind of good to hear that airing out. Found it very interesting, accurate for what it covered. One thing that struck me today in looking at the budget narrative, or hearing the budget narrative, is the number 0.3%. And I don't know if there's a significance on your side to that number, but that is the number for Social Security increases this year. The only difference is somebody on Social Security, that's all they got was 0.3. There was no exclusions. There was no, if you need more, or if your food costs went up more, or if your insurance went up more, you would get more. It was 0.3%. And the one thing that kind of happens often, too often, it's almost the standard, is we have different numbers from government, but none of us in the real world get to say, oh, it's healthcare is excluded, or it was a storm last year. You get a raise, that's your number. And I think that has to be kept in perspective here, because sitting out in the audience, I don't pay anywhere close to 0.3%. The number you handed us was 10 times that. 312 or 320, whatever the number was. And if we look at economics in a stagnant environment, and that is what Sussex County is, if you're consistently beyond, if your cost of living as government consistently exceeds the private world's, you end up with pretty much a communist government. Government will run everything. So I think that's how I see these consistent increases beyond the cost of living. And there's always an excuse why it can't be met, but the happening is there, and the people in the public, they don't understand these exclusions. When it comes to the solar discussion, one thing I'd like to point out is, no matter what's happened over the last 6 years, you kind of have the same eyes on the project. You still have the Special Solar Council. And no matter what you want to say about the 2015 agreement, you thought highly enough of that special solar council to keep him. And you're blinded to whatever his focus is there. Mr. Boxer is not, I don't believe, is helping operationally. This person is, probably along with Mr. Williams, but he's key. And he struck this agreement, and when he came before us last July, he said he didn't read the original agreements. He said he was charged with getting the project moving forward. So while Mr. Crabb has been accused of not wanting to revisit the past and only look at last year, we're still doing that with the Special Solar Council. And I think we've lost a big opportunity there to really enforce these contracts. Because these contracts did stipulate a certain build-out. They stipulated EPA-type funds that should be coming in. So it wasn't just putting 3,400 kilowatts on roofs, but also how much you should be seeing on a yearly basis. And Vanguard came, gave a presentation, and actually explained how they've exceeded your expectations and what they would provide. And now you're saying they came up well short. Just to summarize, just to give an outlook for next year, I think you're going to see a banged up solar bundle of money. You're going to be getting into 1603s. I have a feeling there's some SREC funds that are going to free up, and this is going to get lowered. There's no doubt it could be better managed, but whatever you got to look at, that's now in your lap. The last thing I'd like to ask, because it's been promised for many months, how far short of a two-car garage are we? I mean, George, you've been promising me. I think at one meeting you said the next meeting I'd have a number.
And you should.
Time.
How much short are we of 3,400 kilowatts?
I'll cover Freehold.
Okay, thank you.
Yes? Agenda items, please.
I think I am.
Okay.
Bill Penny, Green Township, the usual suspects, I believe. This whole solar thing, you said it's $2.7 million for the next 10 years, which is about $27 million that we're going to have to put the bill for.
That's not net.
What is that?
That's gross.
Gross. Oh, all right.
That's the worst case.
Pretty gross.
Okay.
That wasn't brought up.
All right, well, what I'm trying to get at is, the brain trust behind this was the Morris County people, and they got like a free pass, and we're stuck holding the dead dog. And we then spent other money to have somebody do an investigation, but I don't know what happened with that.
It's getting close.
Oh, okay. That wasn't brought up, but this whole solar debacle, I'm being very precise about the words I choose right now, because I have a bunch of others that probably nobody wants to hear. Having said that, I think you've done the best you could with what you had. And I'm not a mathematician like Mr. Levy or that.
Dunleavy.
Dunleavy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave it on that. But you know, I think you were just stuck with something, and it doesn't matter if he said, she said, who did what. You know, you're looking up a dead horse's rectum, actually. And it's not really going to help us. I hope that we do turn around in this town, because I moved here like 4 years ago. I love it. I happen to live in a nice town in the county. And I've been coming to the board, and I think that in all fairness, everybody has done their best, even when there were disagreements, from what I could see from the time that I've seen. I thought you found a heart attack at the last meeting when I asked you about the job, and told you to take it. I don't think any job is like, you know. That goes along. That's it, I'm done. Yeah, the suspects are on.
Always count on you to lighten the mood.
I try, life's too short. It's just too short.
Anyone else?
Motion closed.
A motion to close by Freeholder Graham, is there a second? Second by Freeholder Patillo. Is there discussion? All in favor? Freeholders' comments? Mr. Pratt?
One of the things that we talked about in the presentation was an audit or a review of what solar really means. I'm not sure that we budget for it for this year, but by the time that we do, and the time that we can put a group together for it or to hire a group, and the time that it would come back, I think we're looking at a full year still. This is the one area that, even up on the days, we've heard like 3 different figures. Which tells me that's the one area that there's an opportunity to see if there is opportunity. I think it's something that, if we talk about the audit, I think that should be one of the priorities. And I just want to clarify again, I mean, we had a whole history going back to 2015 and solar this and everything that. My only issue was that we didn't get to the health benefits plan in a timely manner last year. That was the whole story. I had the privilege of attending with my colleagues the 75th anniversary of the library over at the main branch. It was well attended for a miserable day. I also had the privilege of attending the award ceremony at the county college last Thursday. With my colleagues, we went to the Veterans Ceremony that was put on by the Elks Club of Sussex. This was the 5th annual. It was at High Point. It was a little bit windy, but it was well attended and well produced. Just found out last night at the council meeting of Franklin Borough that on this Monday they'll be dedicating a town street, Hospital Road. It's probably the worst, it's probably the most misnamed road now because there's no hospital. Hospital Road is going to name it after Sergeant Dennis F. Premont, who was killed May 6, 1968 in Vietnam. He was one of 2 Franklin residents that were killed in action. And this is something that we're going to dedicate on this Monday at the Franklin Memorial Day services. And that's all I have.
Yes, I'm going to go on to drugs. As you know, as you know, May 3rd, the CLEAR, the Sussex County for Prevention, put on a workshop on marijuana. I wasn't able to attend, but you gave a nice report on it, Carl, last week. I was at their meeting yesterday, and they were talking about the effects of marijuana, but they also were on the idea of recovery, and I think for the first time in all the years that I've been associated with that group, and that goes back to 1995, when I started with that group, it's the first time I really believe that we have the, what's the word I want to say? Is that we have been, I think the word, I want to say compelled, but that's not the word that I mean. We are finally at a point where we can move forward with recovery. We've been enabled by the grants that are coming out from the governor's office and from the state, from the different groups that are coming together, and from the awareness that's out in the public about the need for recovery. We've always been on the education part, which is extremely important, but we could never get to that recovery part. And now with the CLEAR program that's out there, we're moving towards the recovery part, which is where you really want to go. That's the initiative, the recovery initiative that's going to change lives. I just want to give you a couple of statistics here that I have. And this I found very interesting. People who are addicted to alcohol are 2 times more likely to be addicted to heroin. If you're addicted to marijuana, you are 3 times more likely to be addicted to heroin. If you're addicted to cocaine, it's 15 times more likely to be addicted to heroin. And if you're addicted to opiate painkillers, it's 40 times more likely to be addicted to heroin. And that's where that relationship shows up, from the legal drugs to the illegal drugs. That's what we're fighting, and that's what's so difficult, because you can get addicted to those drugs very easily from the prescriptions that are given out legally. Also, if you look on the website for the Center for Prevention and Counseling, and I ask that people do, if they know anyone that's addicted to drugs, if they're looking for any type of recovery information, if they want to go to different programs that gives information and gives the education they need, you can look on that website. I'm not going to go through all of the things that I have in front of me, but the one thing I'm going to hold up is Hidden in Plain Sight. Now, this program is going to be given on May 24th from 7 to 8:30 at the Littell Community Center in Franklin. If you have not gone to this program, I suggest that you do. For people that have children, for grandchildren, for anyone that knows anyone, neighbor, friend, or whatever, what they do is they actually set up a teenage bedroom with the bed and the clothes hanging up there and the cabinets and all these different things, as you would if you were in anybody's home. And then they invite you to go up and find where the drugs are hidden. And I will tell you, you would be amazed at where these kids can hide drugs. And what you think is just an ordinary item becomes paraphernalia for the new drug culture. And that was even more alarming. It was not just that we found where they put the drugs, they sewed it into their hat, and there are many other places that it was, but that the paraphernalia that they have there that you would just think is a soda can or something else is being used in this drug culture. And you know what? There are symptoms and signs associated with drug addiction. And today at our meeting, Becky read one of the letters from one of the parents who lost their young adult to heroin. And what that person was saying is, if she had only gone to some of these programs, and if she had only known what the signs and the symptoms were to drug addiction, she would have had a chance to save her son. And it's important. And if you have the opportunity, I would tell you, take the hour, go look at this, and find out what the signs and symptoms are, what the paraphernalia looks like, and where these kids are hiding drugs under your noses in their own homes. So I would recommend that highly.
Mr. Grant?
For those that feel that there aren't things happening in the county, I was fortunate yesterday, almost by accident. I'm a board member for Friends of NRA, and we have a yearly auction dinner, and we raise money, and the purpose of raising the money is for youth programs, 4-H, Boy Scouts, and it's shooting and archery. And I'm very proud of the work that they do, because it's all about safety, and it's all about growing up. That's what it is. But we've had dinners in the past and they've exceeded our expectations in terms of size, so I was looking for another place, something larger. And Carl happened to mention about a large renovation at Bearbrook. And I was surprised. Took a drive over there, and they put in $4 million. Over $4 million investment into Sussex County to free in a very large facility for weddings and such. This is an investment. We're not investing in something that's dying. I also noticed that it's been a pet peeve of mine for quite some time about the 206 corridor, things not moving along in that regard. One of the things that always bothered me was that if you make the place look like Blight, it is Blight. And when you go into that area right around Springdale, there were these buildings that weren't doing anything. There was a sign going up for G&S Pizza that they're taking the corner property and they're doing something with that there. That is essential, because we're looking at real estate signs that sit in front of properties. I think that those people that list those properties, I think it's incumbent on them, it should be demanded of them to make sure that those properties are kept in some sort of a neat repair so that people want to invest in the area. It's one thing to go around and collect the listings, and it's another thing to actually build our environment. And I think that Springdale is a good example. There were some movements of properties I'm noticing up on Route 23, and I'm also noticing a very strong growth in Byram. Byram was stalled for a number of years because of the
road project from hell. It went on for about 6, 7 years, and it just never ended. And Mr. Poff is laughing because he sat in those traffic jams for most of those years, right?
Not only sitting in traffic jams, but fighting with DOT when I was the manager of Byron. It was just your fault.
You angry? All right, well, now you're going to see what's happening. Let's Poff the magic administrator.
I'm afraid that's going to stick.
Sounds like it. I'm afraid it is. It could be worse.
It has been worse.
Harold's not here.
On Sunday, we had a salute to veterans up at the monument. We're at that time of the year where we salute both our veterans, and people have to understand, should understand, Neil, you really do, the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. We're talking about those that have given the ultimate sacrifice. And I know that there are those that have passed in campaigns, but there are many of those that have passed after the campaign. One thing that really impresses me every year when I go to any veterans event is those veterans that have served World War II, Korea, Vietnam, on, and they never stopped serving. They continue serving. People that got behind the Veterans Cemetery up in Sparta, that was not done by us, that was done by veterans. And they kept it moving, they kept it in our face, and they kept it in the public's eye, and that's what they do. The COSA Center was pushed by veterans. Nobody knows veterans better than veterans. And there's that peer that you can't reach out if you don't have the credentials. If you haven't walked the walk, you really can't talk the talk. We have a transit yearly meeting on June the 13th for those who do have struggles with transit. That's a good time to voice your concerns. And then I want to bring up something, I'm not sure whether this is something for here or not, but we have a dedication on June the 14th of a public safety monument. And that is at 6 o'clock. I think that we were supposed to adjust something.
I got it here. Hold on.
What time is it?
But I have it all right here. June
Board meeting
14th.
will be 4. I
4
put an
p.m.,
email out to the entire
June
board the
28th.
other day.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's something that the public also is aware of.
I will do that.
Well, I was stealing your thunder, sorry. Solar panels. John, do you have the exact number, do you know? Solar panel differential between what was the original build-out call and then what it was? I know it was supposed to be, do you know that?
Not being built.
Yes.
Approximately 745 kilowatts.
745 kilowatts out of just shy of 8 meg. So, a little bit less than 10%.
So 20% less on the build-out.
On the final build-out.
On the second build-out, you're shy 20%.
We can do whatever the math is. There's a reason for this. This wasn't done arbitrarily. And it was something that we all struggled with, and we all had to come to it. And I know that there are certain people that are going to say right now, well, you know, we still should have done it, we still build more. Everything costs more money. It was an all-in. Remember my garage? It was an all-in. So that meant that every time that we changed the shingle, that every time we moved a pail, it cost more money. Every time that we questioned what was going on, somebody lawyered up. It was an all-in contract. I've never seen it. I've been a project manager in construction for many years. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know what people were thinking. But I do go back to Morris County. Morris County didn't do it that way. Morris County made their decisions in a very deliberate manner. And they also made sure that they went out to bid. And the bidder was the one that actually got the job. And I keep asking, where did Vanguard come from? Who brought in Vanguard? Who brought in Vanguard? Ask that question over and over again. I'd like to know that answer. And I think that you folks that are paying along with, I'm paying and Carl and we're all paying for, who brought in Vanguard and why? I think it's time. As for the exact number, Harvey, that should be put up. Can we please, John, can we please put that up within the next 24 hours? I know we have a document.
The owner's rep, it should be fixed at this point.
It's on the owner's rep report?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll confirm the amount.
Just ensure it?
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Poff, for your very eloquent and clear, easily understood budget presentation and slide PowerPoint, which will be on the website tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. It'll get up there sometime tomorrow. I would encourage you all to go back and read it, because apparently some folks fell asleep and didn't pay much attention to it, one or the other. But please take a look at this. It does explain everything that you didn't understand. The road department is in the process now of milling and paving throughout the county. We've completed Cemetery Road, North Church Road, Freedom Stillwater Road. We are working on County Farm Road in progress. We will be going to Halsey Road, Libertyville Plumsock Road, and Mountain Road. Traffic striping and marking has been done on County Route 675, 631. We'll be doing 610 Freedom Stillwater Road in progress. We've got County Farm Road, Halsey Road, Libertyville, Plumsock Road, and Mountain Road to also be striped. We have fall projects that were completed in 2016. In the fall, Lawrence Road was completed, Hicks Avenue was completed, Fair Lake Owasso Road was completed, and Stillwater Myrtle Grove Road was completed. These are just some of the projects. This does not include the bridges that are in process that our road department is engaged in cleaning up. That's where your tax dollars go. If you read the article in the Sunday Herald, at the bottom of section 2, page 1, there was a very eloquent article of what it costs to monitor and deal with the storms that came across the county. And we had a very light, lovely, light, quiet winter in comparison to some of the past. And that's the other place that money goes for the county. And as Mr. Poff indicated in his budget, clearly in his budget presentation, that's where the money goes. As for the medical costs, in the year 2005, a family health insurance policy, and I don't know if y'all carry health insurance or not, but if you do carry health insurance, you know what it costs. If you don't carry health insurance, then you don't know what it costs, and you don't not talk about it. A family insurance policy in 2005 ran between $500 and $800 a month. In 2017, a family insurance policy runs between $2,500 and $4,000 a month. Does that give you a clue as to what happens when you talk about benefits for your county employees, of why there's a difference between 2005 and 2017? I hope that's clear, that everybody understands that. Went to the NJAC conference and was privileged to listen to a very excellent presentation on Next Generation 911 that indicated where we are required to go in the future. We aren't close to where we're going right now. There are several states that have taken and diverted the monies that we have been taxed on for our 911 telephone bills and diverted it to all their other things. California has diverted 4.5%, Illinois 1.4%, New Hampshire 17%, New Jersey almost 90%, New York 50%, Rhode Island 70%. I mean, it goes on and on. The legislature wrote the bill so that it had holes in it, that they could take that money and use it for other places, and the public passed the bill so that they thought they were going to have money available for the 911 center. That does not mean that the 911 center does not get built and operated, because we were mandated to do it. The new Next Gen 911 will have a fully functional 911 system that is accessible anytime, from anywhere, from any device. It is capable of handling audio and voice calls with data, text messages, calls with data, interactive video calls with data. So if you're sitting in a car with a pole on top of you, they can see where you are, what you're doing, and give you instructions on what to do. One of the worst things anybody can do if a pole falls on a car with electric lines is get out of the car, because you get electrocuted almost immediately. There are sensors and other devices with interactive voice, audio, text, and or video. All this requires a wireless system and a network. We're still working on copper wire. New Jersey's woefully behind. And New Jersey's woefully behind because the legislature won't dedicate the money to it. They got other ideas for it. The implementation and completion of Next Gen has been done in Maine, New Hampshire, Indiana, and Iowa. It's in process in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Virginia, and Tennessee, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Neighboring states that are in the planning process: Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, Delaware. Anything missing? New Jersey. State of New Jersey collects 90 cents per telephone line, wired and wireless. Postpaid and prepaid. Now they want to pull more money on the prepaid. 120 million is collected annually, deposited into the State of New Jersey 911 system and Emergency Response Trust Fund. Over 1.25 billion was collected between 2006 and 2016. 11% of the trust fund is spent on eligible expenses under the Federal Net 911 Act of 2008, H.R. 3403, according to New Jersey's own report with the FCC. None of the trust fund was allocated to the approximately 200 911 centers operated in New Jersey and municipalities, all of which had eligible expenses. The state of New Jersey is the only state not sharing the fund collected for 911 with counties and municipalities. Sussex County is third, third from the bottom, with the amount of money that we spend out of all the other counties. So we have done quite well with what monies we have used to have a state-of-the-art 911 facility. I'm proud of it. It's going to be a good facility. Does it have problems? Yes, it does. Will they be cleared up and cleaned up? Yes, they will. I was very pleased to attend the Sussex County Community College commencement exercises. And I was pleased to give the opening remarks and participate in the ceremony. It was a joy to watch 246 youngsters and middle-aged oldsters walk across the stage in their cap and gown, giggling like little kids because they had accomplished and achieved their educations. I think you can short that for a moment. And unless you sit there and get the looks on their faces, you can't understand them. And afterwards, when they threw their little hats up in the air, there was an elated group of young people, all together, all having a wonderful time, and I was proud to be a part of that and proud to see them there. The County League of Municipalities reorganized this last week, and they're going to be back in operation, which is a good thing to hear. I also attended with the other freeholders the salute to veterans on Sunday. There was an article I saw someplace about patronage at the college. I would like to inform everyone that there is no freeholder on this board who has anything to do with patronage or employment at the college on the Hill, Sussex County Community College. There are no favors that we have requested or that have been given. So whoever has that bright idea, scratch it. It's unfactual and untrue. We have nothing to do with hiring at the college.
I think they were talking
Don't
about...
laugh at me. We don't have anything to do with it.
I think they were talking about patrons with regards to patronage, not patronage.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. Okay.
Well, I don't think you should be trying to kid us either.
I should be what?
I don't think you should be trying to fool us either, because we have some gray matter between our ears, said that you don't have anything to do with hiring at the college.
Piggybacking off of Sylvia's comments, a report just came out from since Colorado legalized marijuana. In 2005, there were 149 teens under the age of 17 were admitted for marijuana-related visits. By 2015, that number spiked to 639 children, teens, and most of them were related to mental illness. There was quite a presentation about what this substance does to the brain in those formative years. And in particular, there was a comment on the strength and the what's the word? Potency of the substance that we have today that we did not have back in 2005 and prior to that because of the way it's commercially grown. As you know, if you've read the papers, the state of New Jersey has come up with a brilliant idea, which is always the major excuse for legalizing marijuana, that's going to bring in a ton of revenue. The fact of the matter is that's not true. It does not bring in a ton of revenue because that revenue is all expended in all the other programs and stuff that go along with it to handle the problems that come with it. Accidents that occur, the increased illnesses, and the increased hospital costs, and the increased medical costs. So you don't make money on legalizing that stuff. I don't know what else to say. A comment was made earlier this evening on the values of homes in the county. Home values change. When I came to Sussex County, I bought my first house at $37,500. It ended up today it was worth around $400,000. I wouldn't buy it today. I bought my second house or third house for $250,000. Today it's probably worth $4 or $5. I don't think I could get it. Values change as the years go on. They don't remain the same forever. Real estate market fluctuates up and down, up and down. It's going back on an upswing. It goes down when there's a large inventory of homes, which we happen to have in Sussex County, and that means that people come in, buy those homes, lower cost, and those values increase as time goes on. It's just the way the market works. It has that way for years. Talk to a real estate agent, they'll tell you the same thing. I want to remind everybody, and I'll make this reminder again, on June 14th, when the dedication of the firemen, policemen, and law enforcement and EMS occurs at 4 p.m. We will have our meeting at 4 p.m. here, and their meeting will be at 6 o'clock there. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. So I would encourage you to attend that. On June 28th, we will be meeting in a PACOM, and that meeting at this point is scheduled for 7 p.m. Also, there are some flyers up here for the New Jersey Transportation Authority, which is going to be coming to Sussex County for Plan 2004-5. That's this flyer here. Please pick one up before you go. That is going to be a planning program for the entire county for the next 20, 40 years, however much they're going to do. If you want to put your input into that, please do that. That will be held in the atrium at the College Auditorium.
May 31st.
June.
May 31st.
May 31st. May 31st, Wednesday, May 31st, at 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Parking is available. It's a performing arts center, the atrium, Sussex County Community College. So take advantage of that. That's going to be an interesting evening. That's all I have.
May I ask a
Okay,
question?
approval of the consent agenda. Resolution authorizing the issuance of purchase orders in compliance with NJSA 19:44A-20.4 at SEC.
Excuse me, what number are you on?
Number 10.
Page 4.
Okay? For various services with accumulated value less than the bid threshold. Resolution reauthorization for the Sussex County Department of Health and Human Services Division of Senior Services to apply for grant funds from the New Jersey Department of Health, Division of Family Health Services for the administration of the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program for the period of June 1st, 2017 to September 30th, 2017. Resolution for authorization for extending participation in the development of labor and workforce development grant program, New Jersey Libraries, Career Connections, Grant for Uniform Career Guidance, and Job Search Assistance Services from June 1st, 2017 to May 31st, 2018, for a total amount of $30,046. A resolution final improvement for the purchase of a development easement on the Mulvaney Farm, Block 74, Lot 7.05, 7.06, 7.07 in Hardyston Townships, subject to available funding. Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of the various proposed resolutions and determined that adoption of the said resolutions is in and will further public interest. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Freeholder Patillo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion?
Can I ask that D be considered separately?
D?
Yeah, the Mulvaney Farm.
Okay. Have a motion to amend the motion to remove Resolution D from the vote. Is there a second motion? I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Crab. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, we're voting on A, B, and C. Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazaro?
Yes. Okay, I want to take up Resolution D, final approval for the purchase of development easement on Mulvaney Farm. We have a motion. Is there, and we have a second. Is there discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a point. When the open space tax was re-established, or not re-established, really, it was continued on, we were looking to try and find a way of using more of that money for maintenance and less for acquisition. I think we have so much required right now. I personally am against this particular resolution. That's what I'd say.
Anyone else? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham? Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazaro?
Yes. Motion is carried. Approval of the minutes of regular meeting, May 10th, 2017. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Approval of minutes of executive session, May 10th, 2017. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Patillo, a second by Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution reappointing statewide insurance fund commissioners. Have a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazaro?
Yes. Resolution re-adoption of the bylaws of the Advisory Council of the Sussex County Division of Senior Services. Resolution re the final adoption of the Frankfort Township Amendment to the Sussex County Wastewater Management Plan. Resolution re-authorizing the County of Sussex to enter into a shared service agreement with the Township of Green for a joint project of enhanced sight lines at the intersection of County Route 517 and Scenic Drive in accordance with provisions of NJSA 48:65-1 et sec and NJSA 48:11-10 et sec. Resolution re providing separate temporary closure County Route 613 in the Township of Sparta. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Motion for Mr. Freeholder Crab. Second, Freeholder Patillo. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Reports of contracts and change orders. Resolution reading the award of a contract extension for drainage pipe and tubing for County of Sussex. It's a routine contract to acquire stuff necessary for the drainage on the side of the roads. Award of contract for the purchase and installation of 3 new and unused dump bodies with hydraulic pump and controls, spreaders, plow and wing plows for the County of Sussex. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Patillo. Is there a second? Second, Freeholder Crab. Is there discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazare?
Yes. Resolution reading payment of bills. The A bills.
Motion.
Motion by Freeholder Graham.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Crab. Is there discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Abstain.
Freeholder Director Lazare?
Yes. Resolution reading payment of the B bills.
Motion to pay those bills.
Motion by
Second.
Freeholder Crab. Is there a second?
A second.
Second, Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? Call the roll.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazare?
Yes. Resolution, read the resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2017 budget of the County of Sussex relating to the 2016-17 Victims of Crime Act, VOCA, Victims of Crime Act, a letter of agreement for a total amount of $122,636.
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Freeholder Graham, motion by Freeholder Crab. Is there discussion? Call the roll.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazare?
Yes. Personnel? Nothing. Administrative report?
Keep my comments for closed session.
Okay. Administrative report, County Council?
Only one comment as it relates to not only the budget, but at NJAC, among the seminars that I attended was one about the council and local mandates, which is the legislative creation for there to be a mechanism to challenge laws as an unfunded mandate upon counties and municipalities. There was a challenge spearheaded by the New Jersey Association of Counties to the criminal justice reform statute, which followed the constitutional amendment. The basic idea was the voters in the constitutional amendment said this, said change the standards of bail, and what we got instead was a statute that said you have risk assessments and weekend jail and all the costs that many counties have had to bear, much more than Sussex County, like building new buildings and whatnot. The long story short on that is that process is probably where it played out. The council and local mandates found that it's not an unfunded mandate, and there's no appeal from the council. It doesn't go to court, there's nowhere else. So we are stuck with criminal justice reform and the associated costs.
Thanks. Thank you. Any unfinished business? Any new business?
Last week, Gregory Cup sent out a draft letter that I asked if we could support the 2018 budget request for the Pack on Lake Commission. It's about $102,000. And one of the important aspects of that budget is there's $18,000 there to actually monitor Lake. And Lake Apacon, more so than any other lake in the state of New Jersey, has 30 years of uninterrupted data for the lake, which is very important to the health of the lake. The rest of the money is used for just to keep the commission going. And the commission, if you don't know about the Apacon Lake Commission, there's 4 towns on Lake Apacon. Apacon's the only one from Sussex County on the lake. The other 3 are Morris County. However, the representation is on that lake commission. Every one of the towns has someone to represent them on that commission. The governor's office appoints someone, the county appoints someone, and there's someone from the DEP. So all of the issues related to the lake are dealt with from the Lake Commission. $102,000 is not a great deal of money, but it serves the commission well and it keeps everything moving forward with the lake. If we were to lose the commission, then we have no voice at all. So I'm asking for your support of the draft letter that we received.
And that's the budget from the state? That's not money
The state,
That's
not
not
from
money
us,
from us.
no, from the state of New Jersey, DEP.
Can I motion, make a motion to support?
Okay, motion from Freeholder Graham, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Freeholder Krebs, is there discussion? We don't spend any money, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you very much.
We have public session from the floor, can I have a motion for public session from the floor?
Motion.
Motion to open for Freeholder Krebs, second Freeholder Graham. Please note, everyone is, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Please note, everyone is asked to keep their comments to 5 minutes or less. Please state your name, spell your last name, and state your municipal residency. Floor is open.
John Snyder, Jamestown. I asked one quick question. You're talking about that 911 trust fund? Who are the trustees? I assume there are trustees of the trust fund.
No, legislature.
It's the state of New Jersey.
State of New Jersey.
Nice one. Thank you.
The legislature and the governor distribute as they see fit.
Go ahead.
I had a quick question. Charles, you from Fire. When it comes to the county space, so it's basically a tax, I understand, and then you guys are starting to use some of the money that you are raising by tax levy to either purchase or now maintain, correct?
Right now, purchase.
Just acquisition.
Just acquisition, but that's going to be a proposal to use some of the funds for maintenance of it.
That's the intent we're trying to accomplish. I don't know whether we're going to get away with it or not, but that's been a statewide thing that they've been trying to do, is to use some of that money to maintain what we already have.
Would that be, who would maintain it? Would it be public employees?
It could be anybody.
If it is public employees, and
For example, if you're going to hire somebody to pull the weeds in Swartzwood Lake or
right,
whatever,
right.
that would be an outside.
It could be outsourced.
It could be like a
do
private
that.
contract outside, so you wouldn't be.
We're going to pave the road in Swartzwood Park, maybe we would do that.
That decision
So it
hasn't been
varies.
made yet, so how that's going to work, we really, we're
Understood.
discussing that in the next upcoming open space meeting.
Okay, that might be something that could be considered. I don't know the politics of it, but obviously the cost of public
Well,
employees
it's something new, it's
are
another way to.
more than private employees, especially if it's bid out in like a competitive contract scenario situation. So that probably might be helpful to kind of keep the costs down.
So far, it's not reality, so that's to be determined.
Understood.
Right,
It's just
that'd be
a-
subject to whatever contractual bidding thresholds.
Just making a recommendation, from my perspective. Do we have a lawyer, I just, again, forgive my ignorance, but, do we have a lawyer representing us for the solar contracts, or is that Mr. Williams? Is that, I'm just curious.
There were several lawyers that were involved in that process.
Absolutely. That just seems like an absolute mess, unfortunately. And anyway, and then I just wanted to make a statement. So, this is my second time I've been here. I appreciate you guys having me so concession. I apologize if I appear to be confrontational and my tone is confrontational. It's not my intent. My intent is to move things along and try to obviously help everyone out here. I didn't mean to disparage anyone's character last week or cast judgment on anyone's motives. Mr. Crab, to answer your question last week, you asked me what the tax was, and I think Mr. Collins went over that as well as Mrs. Rosa. Did a little research on the budget. It was 2004 was $56,625,654. 2016, the county purchase tax was $81,581. Or $81,581,020. 44% increase in taxation. It seems like quite a bit over a period of 12 years. The last meeting, I learned a lot about you guys. Appreciate all the freeholders, a lot about the library system, and all the good work that does, the beefsteak dinners, as well as paratransit rodeos, some water programs. We do anything in the pool, it's nice. And I like Deputy Rose's ambition with our jump program. I think that'd be a nice addition to the town. I didn't hear that much talk about last week about helping the citizens, the tax burden. Mr. Pop, I think, is obviously digging into it. That's wonderful, and I obviously support everything we can do to try to keep things in order. Mr. Crab, appreciate your honesty, and I guess for not voting for the tax increase. Anyway, so one thing, you asked for some suggestions, let us review as well. First thing that came to mind was not show up. No one shows up, we can't really do anything. Stay still. It seems to me, from my understanding, what I've been reviewing, and what I've been seeing happen, is that things don't seem to be getting better with the current management. So, if you don't have any management, or you just, I don't know, occupy your time elsewhere, that might be an option. And then you wouldn't actually have to, things wouldn't be moving in the direction, which doesn't seem to be moving in the correct direction.
1 minute.
Despite Mr. Lazaro, I think, to correct the record, or what your interpretation of the facts are, is the economic situation does not seem to be getting better on the ground here. Newton is in shambles as a town in terms of businesses moving into the area. Doesn't really seem to be working out that well. Some ideas that I thought I'd propose to you would be to tax abatement, because we're looking for recommendations. Some sort of a tax abatement program for anyone that purchases a new building or foreclosed property. Freeze. I've seen this working on municipalities.
It's a municipal issue, it's not something that we can generate.
Well, you could probably do that with
No.
you levy a tax, though, correct?
That's a municipal.
Understood. Well, you guys are above
that's
so maybe, I understand. So you can't do that with, there would be no county, you couldn't levy, you wouldn't be able to send a foreclosed property. If someone will purchase it, then you're gonna freeze their taxes at the current rate for 5 years.
Works the other way around, it works for municipal.
Okay. Well, thank you for telling me that. I think that would be something maybe you guys could sponsor or organize your league of municipalities to kind of try and work that along. That's actually my second point, is to organize the municipalities to do the same. I spoke with Senator Oro about this yesterday. Seemed to think it was a good idea. It might be something that can gain traction. I'm seeing it work on.
Many of the municipalities are doing it.
It's great.
They're working on it.
They should be patted on the back for that. It's a good move to drive some of this inventory. That's all. Thank you very much.
That's what we did with the operation in Bearbrook.
Great.
And he got started, gave him a period of time to get him on his feet. He'll be evaluated as time goes on.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more of incentivizing people to, I'm sure you look at economic policy, incentivize people to come to the area. Taxes definitely don't incentivize people.
Mind you too, when you get an abatement at the municipal level, the county is beholden to it. We can't do anything about that local decision. But there are minimum levels that they can give to us. Sometimes those minimum levels we look at that we can negotiate for some of the bigger abatements. But,
sure.
Just to let you know that we can't stop them, and there's latitude as to what we actually receive.
There's also some unexpected consequences, particularly when you're talking about municipalities that do something, we're talking about residential here. When you do this on a residential, it doesn't just affect the county tax, it also affects the school tax.
Sure.
So if they do an abatement, if they take it on a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes, very often that doesn't affect the school tax. So you bring in school children, you're increasing your budget. So it's a balancing act. 10 years ago, we did it at Stanhope when we brought in the restaurant. No, it wasn't coming. The restaurant. And it worked. But as soon as the payments, the full payments started coming in, the owners started choking. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah, Franklin did Walmart. It was a bigger project, bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's policies. I just think there's more creative solutions that can be, found in terms of incentivizing people to buy housing inventory, improve their neighborhoods and their communities. There's probably also creative solutions that you can look at in terms of addressing, line items in a budget and actually working in an organization as well to actually bring down costs. I mean, I think, 3%, you guys are talking about $43 per household, right, for this bond that you guys are trying to raise. It's going to be 43 per, I don't know if it's per 100,000 or per household to pay for the debt service on the bond. Per household. So
that's the total county tax.
No, that's the total county tax. That wasn't that was everything all in. Everything all in.
No, well, I'm just saying for your bond. You guys were for the middle school.
It's not $43 for the bond.
No, $43 for
$2.
Okay, so maybe I'm confused. So all I'm saying is we couldn't find $43 in that budget or whatever, 43 per household.
Represents.
It's 3%. It's basically we couldn't. I'm just saying 3% is not. Doesn't seem like a massive number.
I'm sure you guys did all you could. But,
It's about like $4 million, isn't it, or something like that?
It's
33 times 100.
400 and something, yeah, $4
$145,000.
million. It's a lot of money, but, I mean, again, I'll stand by everyone else that's kind of said here. I think you understand what the public opinion is on this, or at least people that show up to these meetings, is that it's becoming an issue. I strongly disagree with a lot of your statements about, you know, the economy improving.
You gonna make it any better by being negative about it?
No, but I mean, but being real about it is a different story. Being real about it, and I mean, not asking someone to bring the
there
doom and
are
gloom here.
businesses
I'm
that are
bringing in,
thriving.
yeah, no, and I mean,
And
Byron
they're
does
doing
have some
well.
positive things, and I'll certainly, you know, say absolutely there is some positive things, but on the overall, I'm just not seeing it, and I hope you guys understand that. And I mean, it obviously might not be all your faults or anything like that, but you guys are, like I said last week, kind of, or 2 weeks ago, steering the boat, and I hope you guys can turn it around and improve it. And I'll be the first person to say, you know, if I think it's good policy or things are improving, I'll say thank you very much. So thank you very much for the things you have done.
Appreciate your comments.
Continue, I guess, you know, making progress in the right direction.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here.
Appreciate that, Mr. Lazaro.
Yes, sir, Neil.
Yes, sir. This is something I'm considered. Bill Kenny, Green Township. You talked about drugs, and you talked about drugs. And I know this is not your purview, but I need information from you, so if you can direct me where to get the correct information. As you may or may not know, there's a big push to get property in Green Township, get variances and everything, so they can put in this high-end drug
Recovery center.
yeah, but they're more about money than they are have anything to do with recovery. That I can pretty much guarantee. I'm 37 years in recovery. You touch me, I can get them sober a lot quicker than these clowns, but it's all about the money. Having said that, I'm fully supportive of helping people. I've spent my wife can tell you, I've been on the phone for hours and hours for the last 2 weeks. I have a young Marine, and I've been locked down in Oklahoma City, and I'm trying to get him planted in either San Diego or in Lyons here to try to help him recover through the Veterans Administration. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart. I have a tremendous passion for it. Having said that, one of the things that we're getting hit with is that there's this horrendous opioid problem and heroin addiction in this county.
It's all over New Jersey.
Well, I
And in this
understand.
county as well,
I understand all New Jersey. And this may sound like NIMBY, not in my backyard, but the truth of the matter is, I don't really see that overwhelming issue in Green Township as I do see it on the street in Main Street, Newton. If you follow my point.
Well, you know, interesting enough is there really is no profile for what's going on today because it's going from the legal to the illegal drugs. So you may have neighbors that may have an addiction, you're just not very aware of it. It's people my age, it's not just the young kids.
Oh, no, I'm well aware. I'm
it's
on
all over.
top of my game when it comes to
Yeah.
this, you know. The housewife who's totally addicted to the prescription medication. That's all been there. But what I'm concerned with is they're throwing numbers and they're saying things, and I just find it. I do drive around. I'm retarded and retired, so I have plenty of time to drive around when I'm away. And I work for 2 law enforcement agencies, the city and the state, as a police officer and other various law enforcement. I can pick up where the things are, okay, and the cues. So my question is, where do we get the breakdown of numbers? Because they keep throwing that the prosecutor here is saying, oh, we got this tremendous thing. You know, like the one kid had 3 shots of Narcan in one 24-hour period. I'm like 3 strikes around, you know, let's be realistic. So they are using that. They do have the CLEAR program. They want to do that. But
That's where I would start. I would start with the...
But who has the statistics? Because they're throwing the prosecutor under the bus.
Well, I don't know if they have the statistic. I don't know. You'd have to go up to the Center for Prevention, which is in the county. I can give you a phone number.
Yeah, I can get it after the meeting if that's okay.
I don't know if they have it by town. I don't know that.
Okay, I'm just trying to get some due diligence when I go before the land board use on June 8th.
Prosecutor will give you the
Yeah, he might
the
not
numbers
know.
and statistics that are related to law enforcement and what they see going through the court system. The prevention, the Center for Prevention and Counseling will give you the statistics and the numbers for what they see. That does not necessarily go through the system, but there are people that come in or that they contact out in the public when they're doing meetings, or that they have treatment for. They will have numbers. They won't give you any, obviously, any personal information.
No, I don't need that. I
But
just
they'll
need
give
the
you the numbers
because
that
the
are there.
numbers we get hit with are just extraordinary.
And-
I'm like, where are these guys pulling these numbers out of?
Well, the other places is your local police department will give you numbers on arrests.
We have the state police. That's part of the
And-
problem. We don't have a local. I don't want a
That's
local-
one of them. That's one of them.
Yeah, but I don't want a local to gendarmes because that's going to increase everybody's taxes.
No. The state police will have facts and statistics that apply to Green, such as Newton has statistics that apply to Newton.
Okay.
They know who they Narcan and what the numbers are that they, how much they use, and you know, that kind of thing. So that's a local thing. That's your best place to start.
Okay.
We
So
live in
any information, because it's late,
Be careful.
and I'm not paying for lunch.
Be careful on the numbers though. Last year there was an anomaly, and it came out because every town doesn't have a post office. So it showed, like Wanted showed a very high number because it was drawing from the Sussex post office. There are a lot of sections that have the Newton post office. So that which happens on Halsted may affect a community that is nowhere near Halsted. So we challenged those numbers. The numbers came back and we were doing them in a different way. But Sylvia's correct. I have a family member, I'm not going to introduce it, is a family member who is elderly. And when I went in to do some help, I found fentanyl and I found a lot of things in there that never ever should have been there. And because they were prescribed sight unseen, this particular person has had a very, very difficult time. Sylvia's right. This is not your drugs of society type of addiction. There was a story that was related today at Human Services and Advisory Council where somebody was relating the fact that a child, a 10-year-old, went to the dentist.
Yeah, about that.
A 10-year-old went into the dentist, and when it was about, I think it was an extraction, or some work on it. Oh, it was dental surgery. That's what it was, dental surgery. The child wanted to know whether or not he was going to get Percocets. It was a 10-year-old who that was the request of the dentist. So this is all around us, and it's not your father's addiction, so to speak.
You have more.
No, I'm well aware of that. I'm just concerned that Father Ed Redding, who is, I don't know if you're familiar with him, he fills in at Good Shepherd. He is 30 years running in drug addiction. He's very highly regarded in the country in drug addiction. And he said, what's going on now with these rehabs, high and low and whatever you want, and it's just a mill. It's just a money-making mill. And the recovery rates are abysmal. These people are talking less than a 40% recovery rate. You know, I could do better in AA than that. You know, I mean, and I'm just saying, so it's concerning that they're going down a slippery slope, and to be honest with you.
Follow the money. The slippery slope is, the governor said, everybody's going to have 6 months of medical insurance to pay the bill. As soon as you do that, then everybody comes in and says, I have a treatment plan, because they know they're going to get 6 months paid. When that money dries up, goodbye, you're out. You got that you know.
I don't trust the lawyer on a land use, if you want to know the truth.
There's a bill in the assembly right now that's mandating more treatment time. Now, we're talking about, how much is did you say were monthly premiums?
Monthly premium for health insurance runs between $800 now $2,500 a month.
$2,500 a
for
month.
family coverage.
It only has one direction to go.
What?
No Obamacare.
No Obamacare.
But all of these extra
Well, why would that
requirements
cost
on
that?
insurance are pushing back. That's not, you're seeing it in your taxes in some way, but you're also seeing it in your premiums.
Well,
Somebody else's addiction is costing us
what I
money
can
on
tell
every
you,
move.
case in point, is this Marine that I'm talking about, he's a decorated combat veteran.
Yes.
He was with the kid who earned the Medal of Honor that I sponsored scholarship foundation from. And the truth of the matter is, when I had an argument, I yelled at the guy in San Diego, I resent this, I said, well, I don't care. And he said, I have a 40-day wait, I have 40 guys waiting for the bed already. So you go to San Diego, there are more homeless veterans in San Diego where these facilities are than there are homeless veterans in LA. So this, these are the numbers that you're dealing with. So I understand the crisis, but what I don't understand is where, you're doing this for the money. And that's what this, the hell's the name of that place?
Well, there is no money in it until you mandate that the insurance company has to pay.
Oh, yeah, but
they only do a 30-day.
They only do 30 days.
Who?
Ambrosia.
No. Right now, the governor mandated that you have 6 months of treatment.
Well, but that's not 6 months inpatient.
Yes.
That's not gonna happen in most cases, because they do a 30-day inpatient.
And that's
what the
outpatient.
insurance is paid for. And when you look at these people, they're coming into other than commercial property, where they have their other places on commercial properties, where they have law enforcement a block away, and have fire and ambulance a block away. And then when you go into a town like Greene, there is no law enforcement 45 minutes with the state, and it's only ambulance service, which is another 25 minutes. So it's just not equipped for it. But they're throwing, and that's what I'm looking for help is, they're throwing out numbers and statistics and they're saying this, and it's like, wait a minute, you're telling me 80% of the people, well, how many people were there? 4? And like what George said, or Mr. Graham, sorry, Mr. Graham was, that it's, oh, come on, it's a small.
Damnable lies and statistic.
Well, yeah, and this is what the idea is that I have a Newton zip code.
You may be drawn into their statistics.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And that's why I put
There are 10,000 plus or minus.
There are 3 zip codes.
076 others.
Population.
Well, yeah, there are.
What's your population?
1,000, I mean 3,000 maybe, I don't know. It's not that big. So for instance, Green Township has 2 post offices. The Greendale Post Office and the Tranquility Post Office. But they don't have a Green Township Post Office. So I live in Newton. And I don't even have a fig tree because the Italian guy took it, so I don't know nothing about that. I'm leaving now, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I'm driving them out, did you see that?
Huh?
I was driving them out.
It's all right. You walk on the tops, I'll walk the top.
Yes, basically the same thing about drugs. I'm a liberal Democrat and I love Obamacare. I think it was pushed the country forward. And as regards George's comment about being at the NRA meeting, I banned the organization and I put all the leaders in jail. But that said, I don't have the slightest bit of liberalism when it comes to drugs or wasting money like the Republicans are equally as good as the Democrats are doing with that taxing. And it was wonderful what you gave out there. And I've really questioned. I recently sent out an email to a group of people, I'm not saying who, about there's elections coming up, about legalizing marijuana, and I criticized it. And believe it or not, I really got a shock back how it would bring in money, which Freeholder Lazaro said. And I was sarcastic with my response. I sent out an email to the group and I said, why not then legalize heroin and it will kill all those people and we won't be responsible for paying for treatment for them. I didn't get any...
It's a plan.
I didn't get any response to that. But I remember when I was teaching at the juvenile center, there was a girl in my class, and very sad. Her mother died at the hospital of an overdose at the time. Now there is a big push to legalize marijuana, and you're perfectly correct, and you are correct. I saw the figures for Colorado, and I watched a program, Forensic Files, as well, which Mr. Williams is probably familiar with. And it's a legal thing, but they do have something on deaths because of drugs and so on. But my question is, what can be done about it? As you said, they do go from marijuana to
Other
heroin,
drugs,
whatever.
they go to other drugs. My son lives in Colorado Springs, so I'm there often. Every time I pick up that newspaper, it's how many people don't. And this drug causes hallucinations. This is not, people mistake that this drug, this marijuana that we're dealing with now is the same in the 60s. I never took it in the 60s, I really don't know. But I can tell you that this is engineered to be stronger. It has an element to it which affects the brain. And in your years that your brain is formulating, it causes problems to retain. So they have cognitive issues with this. It also causes hallucinations. And a couple of times I was reading in the newspaper where a man ate the brownies. It's all about the brownies out in Colorado Springs. You know, the brownies and the candy. If you looked at how all of these, they have brownies with marijuana. They have candy with marijuana. So what happens, they don't.
Regular brownies with
Oh, you can go buy them. Yeah, the stores, they have all of things. Matter of fact, that's one of the biggest part of this whole marijuana is the candies. Because, you know, they'll buy the brownies, they'll buy the candies, you have them on your kitchen table, God forbid, and one of your children come and takes one, and the next thing you know, they're dead or they're fighting for their life. But the problem is because it's not a federal law, they're not really able to regulate what is a legal amount. So medical marijuana and the legal amount for marijuana, medical marijuana, excuse me, I'm tired of my medication is kicking in, is about 10 milligrams. Well, some of these candies are 80 milligrams, 100 milligrams. So if you don't know to eat just a portion of that, you overdose. They die from the brownies, they die from the candy, who shot his wife, who jumped off the building. And talking to my son, there's one high school that's had continuous suicide, one after another. They think it has to do with the marijuana. Now that they've taken the marijuana and they've made it into a liquid form, which is like 80% strong, the kids can smoke it in those cigarettes, the cigarettes they put the liquid form in.
The electronic
Yes.
cigarettes.
So they're smoking in school and you can't smell it. They're having a high dropout population now, people who cannot keep their jobs, problems in families and divorce rates, accidents with the cars, you know, all of these things, these social services are costing them a fortune. Plus you're changing your whole society.
Yeah.
And you know, this whole idea where you can only sell it to people over 21, come on, the kids are giving it to the younger kids. So, you know, I look at it, I look at what my son goes through out there, and I think it's one of the worst things they could do. And then, of course, they're tracking the marijuana being sold there and then taken to other states. So it's not just staying in one place. There's a whole business associated with this. You know, so they think they're making money, but you're making money on the backs and the lives of your residents. So maybe you should really think
And who would be making the money? Not the government?
The state. The state is making money. Yeah, they're bringing in a lot of money, but their social service cost has just shot up.
Yeah.
But you're destroying people's lives. You know, there's a reason why it was an illegal drug. And this drug, as we said, is engineered to be stronger than it ever was. They're actually, oftentimes I hear Becky, who's the head up in our Center for Prevention, is that they should actually name it a different drug because it's not the same now. And there is an element, there's it's a THC, that's the one that gets you high, but there's another, I don't remember, that has to do with the medical part, the effect medically on the body. You just don't take it and it doesn't affect you, it affects the brain, and the brain doesn't regenerate, especially in the young children and the young adults that are beginning to develop. And it's a problem.
Watchman Point.
You know, so there's a lot of negatives to that, but you don't hear that. All you hear is money, 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 and that's what they said when they did it in Colorado. And as you can see, there's a lot of problems associated with that drug.
Well, I guess there's no way of ameliorating the situation. Really, politicians, both parties.
It's a society problem that we're going to have to deal with as time goes on, and hopefully we'll find a solution to handling it.
But you have to look at the real statistics coming out of Colorado. You know, it's very easy to pick and choose what you want to talk about, but when you start to look at the real statistics that are coming out, you can see the dangers of the drug.
Well, I think the Freeholder Lazaro gave the figures that I.
And plus, there's more robberies going on also in Colorado Springs. Everybody's putting security systems in the home.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Let's talk about drugs there. Glenn Hall from Sanderson. Recently in Newton, there was 3 deaths and 1 overdose within 6 hours at a house. Is that Halstead Street? I wasn't sure exactly.
Doesn't matter where it was.
Well, it does.
No,
That's my point. That house is probably within 1,000 feet of the school. And it's been a known drug house for probably 30 years. That's my point. Thank you.
It is Halstead.
Well taken. Anything else? A motion to close, is there a second? Discussion?
Thank you.
Floor is closed. I'm not gonna read all the reminders on the back. You got agendas. Please make note of them, particularly the TPA plan. And remember that our freeholder meeting on June 14th is at 4 o'clock, and the second one on June 28th will be in a PACCOM at 7 o'clock. We have an executive session, which will be a closed session. A resolution providing for an executive closed session not open to the public in accordance with provisions of NJSA 10:4-12 et sec. Whereas the subject matter about to be discussed may be excluded from the public portion of the meeting by resolution of the Board of Chosen Freeholders as an exception to the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12b. And whereas it appears necessary for the Board of Chosen Freeholders to discuss such matters in executive session, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex, in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12b and NJSA 10:4-13, that the Board at this time enter into an executive session in which the public shall be excluded. Be it further resolved that the general nature of the subjects to be discussed relate to the following items authorized by NJSA 10:4-12b as designated below. Matters relating to litigation, negotiations, and the attorney-client privilege, CWA 1032 non-supervisory. Be it further resolved that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders, or provided by law, the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. Be it further resolved that upon completion of the business for which the board has entered into the executive session, the board shall reconvene and resume its meeting. We're not reconvening, are we? We have to close. Okay, we'll reconvene to close the board meeting, the executive session, but we will not be making any decisions. So unless you want to sit around here and wait for us to close the meeting, God bless.
Well, how did Rose skip this meeting?
What?
Did he know something that you didn't know? Mr. Rose is not here.
Second.
If no one is staying, then we can meet here.
Did we break?
Okay.
Did we break yet?
Yes.
George.
Oh, sorry. We have returned to the regular session, having discussed matters related to CWA 1032 Non-supervisory. I have a motion to leave executive session.
Motion to leave it, executive session.
I have a motion to leave executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. I have a motion for adjournment.
Adjourn.
A motion for adjournment. Is there a second?
So,
Nobody wants to second it. Oh, okay.
You just got
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Sign bills and